2.0 is coming up.
You get to crush another turkey dinner?
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
Ready for it? That's
Dude,
cool.
so ready.
So where?
American Thanksgiving, like, I love Canadian Thanksgiving, but it's one day.
So that means you're going to crush a roast on Christmas. Because, like, are you going to handle 3 turkeys in a row?
I don't know, man.
Dude, you got like 4 weeks in between to rest.
This frame says put more on me, man.
Yeah,
I lost 15 pounds over this summer. I didn't even realize I could lose 15 pounds of muscle, but I did.
But you got to put that back on now.
I got to put it back on.
Exactly.
I got to bring that booty back.
How are you going to survive them cold Canadian winters?
That explains the hat now. And we're also live.
Oh, goddamn.
Oh, well then.
Welcome back. Wait. Welcome back.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Panther Airsoft Folding Table Talk. This is episode, guess what, guys?
20?
20.
20?
20. Oh
20.
my gosh.
That's 2.
Wow.
That's 2-0.
People have wanted to, or continued to have listened to us this long.
I
Fix your mic,
appreciate
by the way.
everyone that's taking time out of their day to listen to us. Thank you.
I don't know how you're coming out of that thing. It's
You are-
probably
yeah,
muffled.
you are
But that's okay,
You
don't
are
worry.
so sincere with that thing on right now. I mean, it's like a very soft-toned version of Master Chief. Oh, no, he pulls down the visor.
So episode
is
20, we're like, what, 1 week away? 1 week away from
That thing
Halloween.
isn't CBRN, okay? It's not sealed.
Yeah, how did you survive in space, sir? I can see your skin.
The cool factor is too cool, man. He's just invincible.
All right. So we have Dave Carenza here, also SchoolBoy Airsoft. Is that
yeah.
correct?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Still rocking that name.
Yeah, still rocking that name. Yeah, I remember you when I was starting Airsoft too. You worked at Trigger.
Dude, I've been around for a long time.
Yes, you have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's great to finally have them on.
Yeah, and you're actually younger than me too.
And my nickname started when I was 16, and it was my first day playing at Panther.
Yep. Oh man.
Yep.
So we got lots of questions for this guy,
yeah.
but first, let's. Do you want to start with our format with the news first, or do you want to grill him with some questions first? What do you guys want?
Well, let's get him to introduce himself, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So go ahead.
Yeah, talk a little bit about yourself. Let
Let
the
us know
viewers-
where this name SchoolBoy came
Yeah,
from.
actually,
you know?
yeah. Let's start
Oh,
with that.
man. All right, let's start with the origin story, because this one's an interesting one. So I started Airsoft when I was 16 years old, and I bought like some cheap camouflage, like one of those cheap tack vests, and I had a really crappy like classic Army M4. This was like my first Airsoft gun back in the day. And I showed up at this field. I had no call sign, no nickname. I did not introduce
Which field
myself.
is this, by the way?
Panther Airsoft.
Of course. Of course.
The only field.
Synonymous. It's the only one. I've ever heard of.
field.
All right.
So I got dinged by some dude that doesn't play anymore. His call sign, pardon me, was 604, but his name is Ken. And he goes, "You know what? You look really young. We're gonna call you SchoolBoy." And I kid you not, that has been my call sign and my nickname to this day. And it's bad enough to the point where people know me by it, but don't know my first name. Just kind of cool. So you get the anonymity, but at the same time, like it's very childish.
I won't lie, I'm guilty of that, David. I'm
Hey, man,
sorry.
it's a lot cooler than my real name. I'll just say that much.
16 years old. Wow, that's
Yeah.
pretty
Great
young.
time.
That's a great time to be. I started when I was like 25 or 20, 24 or 23, whatever.
Yeah, I've been playing for 12 years, man.
Yeah.
I'm pushing 28.
So you got to start at what every kid dreams of doing right now. Then.
Yeah, pretty much. And I mean, it was harder back then, back in the day. Like it was really hard, let alone just to get an Airsoft gun. You had to go through age verification and all this kind of stuff through like Airsoft Canada. You didn't have stores here. So luckily enough.
When you started, there probably wasn't a store. There was only,
No,
I think,
there
Milsig and probably some paintball shops somewhere.
Badlands.
Yeah, well, I think it was
There's
just
no
Badlands.
stores.
There was no
Airsoft,
store?
man.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
no,
It wasn't
only
a thing.
paintball.
I mean,
or something.
Badlands didn't even have Airsoft when I was growing up and stuff. That
Yeah,
was
it was.
purely
Yeah,
it was
it
Toronto
was a shock to
Airsoft?
me when
No,
Badlands
no,
had
not
it.
even.
even?
Dude, it's like I'm from back when. Okay, you want to know how ancient this is? I had to go on forums to buy airsoft guns, and I had to get my dad to buy my first one from a guy that was willing to sell to me. And I had to come to the field and purchase it basically and play here. Like it was totally legit, totally legit. But at the same time, like this is way back in the day when this stuff was like hard to get in Canada, and then things started to open up. Like maybe like
Back
4 or
when the
5 years
process was
later.
a lot slower to do stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
heck yeah,
it's
man.
been streamlined a lot more now over the last few years. And
Yeah,
stuff.
it's changed a lot.
Hey man, forums were the thing, man. They were the thing.
I'm still on them, dude. But I mean, it's not what it used to be.
No.
Nowadays, it's like Facebook.
This is why we got Julian to switch over from forums to Facebook now, because that's where everybody is.
The story kind of cross over each other there, especially in the sport, the hobby, just like since kind of like the beginning and the inception of like what we've had, what you guys have got to go with from a starting point, and then exactly talking about where it has gotten to now.
Yeah.
You know, and then again, just like how grateful some of these little guys should be and stuff like that, being able
It's a lot of work, all right?
Exactly. I mean,
it's a lot of work.
Come a long way.
Exactly. A lot of people don't realize some of the hardships it was. Like some of the guns that we have now that a lot of people take for granted. You know, a lot of the really niche guns that a lot of people like playing with weren't even possible to get into country before, just because.
Hot take. There were more niche guns back in the day than there are now.
Yeah.
Well,
really?
So when you talk about
variety.
I mean, 15 was peak.
Yeah.
But there was a lot.
Well, so exactly when you talk about that, there was a lot of the really nice guns. Like, you know, one of my favorites is like the KWA FPG. I was a really big fan of that one. Unfortunately, it doesn't exist anymore, and it's a rarity.
I want the deep fire fucking.
I have a deep fire.
Do you have the deep fire?
Yeah.
No, I got the small one.
Okay, I was like, I want the.
To segue to talking about airsoft guns, when did you start teching your tech work?
Speaking of teching, yeah.
Because I've known you for like as a tech guy for a while now.
Well, were you not the original tech at Trigger Airsoft?
Yeah, I was the OG tech at Trigger, and I worked at ASG when that was the thing back in the day. And I was
okay. Well, there you go.
So you did both. Wow.
All right.
I had both sides of it. Oh man, when did I start? I started teching, I think, when I was like 18, give or take, around there. Like when parts and the airsoft market kind of opened up in Canada. And I wanted to learn how to fix things because, you didn't have a lot of people back then who knew how to repair anything. Yeah. So I kind of got around to it. And then Toronto Airsoft came around, and like you had a plethora of like JG and like all these different airsoft parts and conversions. So that's kind of when I started noodling with it. And then teching became kind of a big deal after that. And I mean, I didn't realize I was stepping into something that people actually make money off. I mean, mind you, it is a hard job, and it is one I don't encourage everyone to do because it takes a lot of patience. But if you got the skill set for it and the patience, hell yeah, like get right on board with that. But man, like I started at ASG and I did that for 2 years, and then I went over to Trigger. And Trigger was really where things kind of kicked off. I mean, obviously, you were a little bit more plethora of parts, and then at the same time, like a little bit more customer flow because things had moved forward a little bit more. So yeah, I was like the OG tech there for I think about 2 years, give or take. Yeah.
Yeah, because start with me and you sold me my first gun there.
Oh yeah. I barely remember that, but I sold your whole
I have
team.
it here.
Oh,
it still works.
God damn.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Bolt Airsoft. The serial numbers is so low, it's in the double digits.
You still run that thing?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the parts have been changed so many times now, right? And the electric blowback is disabled now because
Okay, it's EBB.
But other than that also like nicely segues to what we're talking about here, anyways. But we're gonna still stick with you because we're talking about
I think
platforms.
I sold your whole team guns back in the day when you were
back in the days, yeah. So you sold us a bunch of guns back then. So yeah, you were one of their first employees, first tech as well. And for me, it's like my starting point at Airsoft as well, and for my team back then.
Man, I started a YouTube channel too. It's weird when people come and go, "Oh man, you're the original face of Trigger." Because I had a YouTube channel with him for a period of time, and that was crazy.
Yeah, and then they stopped afterwards, and then they kicked it back up again or something like that.
I don't even know, man.
I don't even know what happened at this point. But they have a YouTube channel, yes.
Sick.
But I remember you being one of the hand models at the end.
Talk about all the cool toys and stuff like that. Oh man, what a great hobby.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's our history between us. It's hilarious how I started Airsoft. It's with him, and then he sold me my first gun, and then after that, it's just been a pitfall of where's my money going? Oh, Airsoft.
Bro, that's like everyone here. Once you get invested, you're invested.
When you're listening to this podcast,
it's a rabbit hole.
Well, speaking of investments, I'm sure that some of the viewers would be interested in hearing some of your experiences. You run, was it a blog?
Oh yeah. I run a website and a blog. I started blogging like a couple years ago, kind of on my own for free, and then I actually had some help with a friend who played Airsoft at the time. He helped me set up my website. Now I produce stuff every so often. I like to go a little bit more in depth, generally speaking, than a lot of other guys do, and I like to talk about the semantics of things or really get tactitious with thought process. I'm a heavy thinker, so like You can pick my brains for days, man, and I got an answer for a lot of different things. They're not always correct, oddly enough. But I will say I like to push concepts out there because you should always push the bounds if you can.
Yeah, and I've read some of your stuff. Well, not some, like all of it, because it's always fun to read through all the in-depth stuff that you go through, especially when you dissected. I think it was Paul's Vulcan M134.
Yeah, I broke down the minigun.
You broke down the minigun.
Minigun.
Yeah, when it first came out, you like breaking things and then explaining stuff and then how to improve it and stuff. I wish companies would read more, on.
Well, it's an important part too,
Yeah.
and then you can kind of segue into the part where companies either make mistakes and pitfalls, or they just produce hot trash.
Is that where they don't listen to any upgrades or
hell yeah,
anything
man.
like
Sometimes
that?
what can make or break a certain platform.
Well,
where
Airsoft's
it's-
pretty notorious for having things be extremely expensive, but
And then
the
break.
internals are just poop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
trying to
and then-
recoup on all that design
Well,
time.
and then all it takes is just a bit of word of mouth, right? And then if
Exactly.
you get a bad name, you get a bad name in the community, and that's pretty hard to like erase out and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Definitely so.
Anyone remember APS?
Unfortunately, I own an APS system.
Man, do you remember when they produced AEGs?
Nope.
Yes.
You wanna know-
Because
you wanna know-
I have it. I had. Well, actually, I had.
It's so crazy because they were
AEG back
in
then.
and out with AKs and ARs so fast because they were so bad.
Well, they're still running ARs. But from as far as I know right now, the ones that I see available are like the F1 replicas.
Oh,
You
man.
can get them off of their website directly, I think it is. They also have a couple other platforms as well that are.
Yeah, I know they have the shotgun with the shotgun shells that everyone's like super hot for, but I don't know about you guys. I'm not too cool for picking up shit off the ground to shoot again. Whoops, drop the S-bomb.
I won't lie. If I were to run a shotgun, I'd probably be that guy with the shell bag, even in airsoft, just for the memes.
You're gonna have the elephant sack on the side, just catching.
So
on the
me and
grass.
Mac are just sitting here going, "Ha, tech guys." They're geeking out.
How are you doing? I'm doing okay.
Oh, I'm okay. As far as like your history in airsoft, like as far as teams go, have you been around in many teams? I know you've
God,
always
yeah.
stuck with Legio for the past recent years. What about previously to that?
I ran a team for like 3
You
years.
ran a team. I did not know
I had a
that.
Bigfoot. It was pretty crazy. I mean, it started. My buddy started it, and then he ended up leaving and just kind of gave it off to me.
Yep.
We ended
Sasquatch
up-
Field.
Yeah, dude, we ended up growing that team to like 20 members, and that was back in the day when multicam was just like kind of like
Sparse.
penetrating the market.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were called the Gucci Crew for a period of time because we all ran
You're,
multicam.
so you're that crew.
Yeah,
Shocker,
those
right?
guys.
Oh man, I remember when it first came out, and I was like, oh man, I gotta get a whole set of this shit. Well,
That's okay. Don't worry.
all good.
That's all
Don't
good.
worry about it.
and I bought like everything, man, like proper pants, the top, the tunic, okay, and the same thing with the what is it, the plate carrier from Condor way back in the day, back when Condor made
Decent stuff.
somewhat. decent.
Well, yeah.
It's not so bad.
It's
It's
hit
not
or
terrible.
Was it really
Yeah.
licensed? Is
But
it
there-
licensed?
Oh man, it was questionably licensed.
Yeah, now it's not so questionable,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Gotcha. So you ran. What was your crew back then, or like what was it called back then? Your
I think
your team?
Skull Team or something like that.
Skull
It was,
Team.
dude, it was super cheesy. It was super cheesy, man.
And what
Like the
happened?
Punisher logo
Oh,
skull.
No, you just jogged my brain. Now it's back. No, we were called Task Force 141. I kid you not. We had the Modern Warfare 2 patches. I had one in Kyle Brown and one with the full color.
I remember that. All right.
That's also when I ran a WE Scar. And I learned a hard lesson of getting
okay.
blowback.
Brave
Alright,
man. I was gonna say
alright.
brave man. Wow.
Yeah.
Do you still have that scar?
Hell no.
I probably somehow ended up with it. Maybe I don't
I don't
know.
know, man. Back when that thing liked to work, it was
Yeah.
like maybe 20 minutes. And then I'd spend the rest of the day trying to screw around with the naps.
Was
to
it
get to
black
work
or was it the
properly.
tan one?
No, it was tan, dude.
It's tan.
It's the
Okay.
only way to go, man.
You have a
Yeah.
I have a
I'd
black
boot all
one.
the way.
Yeah.
Ugh, black scar's gross.
Ugg boots. Oh my
Well,
God.
anyone who has a black scar is an obvious bad guy.
And when did you start with Legio?
I came back to Airsoft after taking a small like stint break for like a year. And it was kind of funny. I'd played with them a few times back at Ambush. I think Ambush still runs games if I remember correctly, but they were back with the Marauders.
Yeah.
So Scott and Craig and Roman at the time and Johnny, they decided to split off from Marauders and form their own team, and they did. And myself and another guy named James, we were the first two recruited. And I kid you not, like I showed up at the field and they're like, "Hey, you want to join our team?" I was like, "Are you guys still with Marauders?" And like, "Nope, we have our own crew and everything like that, and we're interested in bringing you aboard." I was like, All right.
So this is where the conflict between Marauders and we're slowly unraveling.
We're piecing together a puzzle
I
over
could
these
deep dive into
podcasts.
that stuff, man.
Let's not. I think Craig already told us.
Blair's just listening to the thing going like, that's not true. You just start hammer the comments.
Oh, dude, like I got sucked in that team so quick, dude, and then bam, like it was like four years in basically, and just kept going for a long time until Legion kind of like quieted up, and now I think everyone's kind of doing their own thing nowadays.
Yeah, life catches up with you.
Yeah, something like that. I think it's also like depends on the type of player too. You get players who just only want to do
The one
type of game and then you get guys who are actually like, yeah, you know what, I kind of want to push it, and I kind of think you need to have a balance of both. You need to do both those games, and then as well as regular pickups. It gives you a better idea of how to either A, run your kit, or B, how to purchase things, surprisingly.
I agree with that 100%. Yeah, because you're able to push the limits on both sides, and then you can. It allows you to, make the proper decision. It's like, okay, I won't be buying this backpack again, or I won't be. Or I won't be buying this shirt again, kind of thing, just because, like, it's like, you get into that position, like, on the weekends, sometimes, like, for instance, when you go to a Milsim, right, you're kind of sitting there the whole time, but let's say, you're playing a little CQB, you turn that corner, and next thing you know,
oh, dude, like, Airsoft gear is notorious for being very inexpensive, and it's funny because it adds up in terms of cost and price once you replace things, like, more than once.
100%.
So then there comes a point where you got to go, do I just buy the real deal?
Yeah. Yeah.
And honestly, like once you do, it's like night and day difference, but your wallet will be crying.
Yeah.
Yep.
Definitely.
I agree.
It's that mistake, or it's that foresight that a lot of people don't see until after the fact, because it's like that paywall is so huge at the beginning, and I understand it too, right? Because like you can't imagine dropping all that all at once kind of thing. But it's like for those people who, go out and buy those booster packs for games kind of thing, it's perfect for those guys, right? Just spend it all at once, and there you go.
But at the same time, like, it's on a nice segue, you're getting real companies that are starting to recognize Airsoft as an actual viable market. So they're starting to kind of push things into that direction, too, because they want their product to be used by the end user and rather than replica stuff all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And half the time, too, I think most customers and consumers would like to have that sort of, like, availability from the real companies anyway, right? Just because, like,
I think they're starting to notice now that airsofters want the real deal, and they're gonna.
Oh, dude, it's ridiculous.
They should start pushing it to them rather than having someone from Asia make it and then
Dude, airsofters spend more money on gear than we do in the army.
Yeah, 100%.
That's crazy.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, I kid you
That's
not.
sad too at the same time.
100%. It is sad, man. I love my kid.
We laugh.
We laugh, but our wallet cries.
I was going to say, like, on to the next one. How many different loadouts do you have?
Actually,
This
that's
is
a good
fun
question.
one. So I've gone through the whole spiel where everyone has, like, they open their closet, right? And you're like looking, you're like, man, which loadout do I wear today? What camo do I wear today?
How many you got?
Come on, spill it. Let's go. Let's go.
I'm down to 2 camouflage sets right now. Yeah, I know, shocker, right?
Yeah.
And I'm down to 2 loadout platforms that can be interchanged out. I started doing this years ago because I hated having way too much gear.
I was
and then
expecting
having to
6
puzzle.
or
And
something.
I am disappointed. Here I am
know.
thinking,
You're
12 years. He's been here longer than me.
I have a storage unit.
I bet you he's got 2 containers at the field. It's like, nope.
No.
Dude, I wish. I live in Vancouver, and I got a small closet I got to work out of.
tough,
It's
yeah.
beautiful and immaculately organized.
Let me guess, your girlfriend cleaned you out of the kit.
Nope.
No?
She did
No,
not.
she didn't force
She didn't
it or
do it?
anything
No,
like
I
that?
did that on my own accord, actually.
Okay.
And oddly enough, for me, like, I like having a base kit to work with that I'm familiar with that doesn't change too much. And then I like weapon systems a little bit more. That's kind of where my like
Now,
line of
now,
stuff
now
goes.
does it split? Are you a gear whore or are you a gun whore?
Dude, I'm in between. I don't
You're
even
in
know how to
between.
define myself.
Ah.
I love both. I mean, I run like high-end Gucci kit, but at the same time, the guns too, man. Like, they come into play as well.
Over there. That's okay, don't worry.
Yeah, it's all gravy, man.
But yeah, so okay. So if that's how much you've kind of toned down the loadouts and the gear and everything like that, are you the same way with your weapons platforms, or how many do you have right now?
Let me think off the top of my head. 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, excluding the 4 grenade launchers with the addition of another 2 or 3 on its way, I have 5 weapons platforms to work with. I've got a very small light LMG. I've got 3 ARs. One of them is an M16 carbine. It's kind of cool. It's got its neat little getup. And I got 2 Canadian style C8s, which I'm still working on, and then an MP5 and a shotgun for, you know, cool guys.
You got a good collection. You got a good collection.
Kit, you know.
Yeah.
And it fits in a nice little locker too.
Well, see, that's a problem that I see a lot of people having, where they don't have enough storage space to fit all of their kits.
And I'm guessing you use all of them. You don't just like keep one and then wall hanger it. You just use it.
Yeah, I bet there's not an inch of dust on anything, right?
No,
like
they're all too nicely manned to do a certain task and purpose. Like I get very technical with my stuff, and I mean, at some point or another, I'll be pushing out more posts on my blog about it. You know, the thing is like time. You know, it's always a difficult part. And then oddly enough, writing is really damn hard sometimes.
Yeah, it is definitely a skill.
You mean typing, right?
Same deal. Really fixed a lot of that.
Oh my gosh! And currently, right now, are you on or off the military serving, or?
I'm with the military right now.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So I'm with the CAF, obviously part-time, not full-time.
Gotcha.
And that's kind of a nice little ad on the side.
Thank you for your service, by the way.
Oh man.
Don't start that.
Let's not go down that rabbit hole.
Put that in the
Okay?
comments.
Put that away.
But I see you managed to balance it off. You're able to play airsoft, and then
It's a hard
as well as
balance sometimes, but it
you're
works.
part time.
Yeah.
That's what it
And
is.
it's nice, but like summer periods, depending on the training coming up, I'll have like moments in between where I'm gone for a little bit.
Yep.
But it's nice to come back to it. And airsoft is extremely leisurely compared to what we do in military side.
Yeah, doing like a real exercise or something.
Oh
compared
man.
to-
Man, airsofters don't know the definition of cold. Or hot, actually.
Yeah.
There's no in between, I'll tell you that right now. There's no comfort zone, whereas in airsoft, you can find that nice, happy median. You're not,
Actually, for the guys that are interested, how is it like? Is transitioning from airsoft to like military sort of like a different sort of like game or like feel to it, or
Yeah, in a way.
how does it help like for people that are trying to like join into the military playing airsoft?
It helps in the sense of familiarizing yourself with positioning, so on and so forth, if you're interested in that type of thing. In terms of physical fitness, I can tell you right now, definitely not. You need to exercise a lot more than you would imagine. And then on top of that, in terms of the actual...
Hold on,
Man, that
Mac.
face.
I see that face.
Work on your fitness.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Hashtag work on your fitness, 5% off.
So what Mac is saying, you got to work on your fitness,
I
guys.
think everyone's saying work
Well,
on
it's a
your
huge
fitness.
component.
Yeah.
You know?
There you go. Yeah.
Especially at the end of the day, if like the other part that airsoft doesn't really emulate very well is weight. You have no idea how heavy things actually are until you're humping them. Especially when you're talking like ammunition, food, water. Water's a big one. Airsofters are pretty notorious for not bringing
Enough
water.
water.
to
Oh yeah, we've been
Yeah,
telling people to
100%.
hydrate, but
Yeah.
I won't lie.
different
the
in the
one
military.
time that I did a full GBB
But you still
loadout where it was like I was wearing was it a full tan rig, so I had like full CPC and everything like that. I fully loaded myself. Holy crap! Yeah, you're right. Like I can't imagine carrying additional ammunition and stuff like that if you translated it to actual firearms and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
I mean like ammo's bloody heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you carry a lot of ammo, it gets heavy. And then when you want to talk real ammo, like machine gun, that stuff is really damn heavy.
So you got 2 people carrying it with you.
That's what you think.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just imagining like a lot of these guys,
or something.
yeah, a lot of these guys who
Yeah,
carry like
yeah.
14 mags or whatever it is, with their mid caps and stuff like that running. I'm just imagining
that
a
ain't
guy
a combat load.
well, just imagining the guy who's actually doing it in real life.
Well, dude, it's like that in body armor too. Body armor gets really heavy really quick, and it's also super hot too. Huh, who would have thought?
Yeah, big flak jacket
Yeah.
on. Yeah, right. Well, who
Oh
would've
man,
thought?
that thing's more like a sweater.
Which plays into the need for water.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
exactly.
you got to drink water, and I can't emphasize enough: drink water, change socks.
Yep.
There's
You
a
told
motto
me
that's
you
a-
told me that already.
Yeah, that's a motto to live by. I can say that for
So
sure.
what is that one big advice for people that are interested in joining, that are playing airsoft, that are wanting to join the military? What's your one big advice?
Don't talk about airsoft stuff if you can. Number one, and then the second caveat to that is work on your fitness. If you're serious about it, especially if you want to go into something like infantry, like myself, yeah, you better be able to run, ruck, and you got to be able to do it quickly. And if you can't, you're going to have a hard time. But fitness will make it a lot easier for you. I can say that much.
Work on your fitness.
Got it.
Okay. All right.
Just in case you didn't hear that. Yeah?
All right.
Telling him for months, David. Telling him for months, David.
Thank you very much for that introduction there, and as well as your short history there. It's nice to have you on board, actually. We are talking about AR platforms today. Reason we brought you in is because of the fact that you use an AR platform as well as you do tech work in AR platforms, and then you also fired real AR platforms as well. I think you got the best of both worlds. You know, all of us probably use not probably, definitely use AR platforms to begin with.
Oh, well, it's one of the most synonymous ones around.
Yeah. But before we start off with that, let's just get into some news here. Just a reminder for everybody on the field, make sure, we haven't told anybody for the last couple of podcasts, but make sure you fill out your waivers, guys, online beforehand. Yeah. It makes it easier to sign in online. You guys have to sign in the waivers because of the fact that it is still COVID times and we need the contact tracing to get involved. And then as well as, once you're done, you come in, pay your admission. That admission pays for our insurance. And insurance is important because
we need it or we can't play.
Yeah, without it, we don't have a field.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah. A lot of people really kind of don't, they take that for granted, They realize they really don't understand that.
Yeah, exactly. We're really at the hands of, the people who have all the money,
big
which
shout
is the
out to the
insurance
regulars
guys.
And stuff like that, and the heavy guys that come out all the time, or, people that have memberships or something like that, right? But, when people...
Well, speaking of insurance and stuff like that, I think since we've started the podcast, we've started seeing a couple upticks of, I don't know, what would you guys call it?
It's like outlaw games, I guess.
I'd say unregulated games.
Unregulated games.
Unvetted games or something.
Non-insured games. Uninsured games.
Yeah. Don't do that stuff.
That's it's not smart. Okay.
And that not only is it bad for this month because you're brandishing an airsoft gun because it's Halloween, right?
God, I don't even want to put those two together. But
you're also putting a bad name into the sport when you're brandishing airsoft guns out in public in an unsanctioned field, uninsured as well. So.
Well, it's like, and I get it, probably, back, 15, 20 years ago, all of us, shot each other in the backyard and stuff like that and had fun. And, that's all cool and stuff like that. But,
even today, it's not. Right?
When you get, those are with really crappy Springer stuff. But, like, when you get to this kind of level and then with the stuff that, how they look and stuff like that.
Keep in mind, too, when you have unsanctioned games and people are paying for it, you are liable if you're hosting that and someone gets injured. And believe me, an injury lawsuit is not something you want to go to court for. It is bloody expensive.
Exactly.
Yeah. Plus, with COVID times, with the contact tracing stuff, that's not
well,
cool.
And the part with the law, I don't want to claim that I'm an expert of the law because I am not, but I do know that you are causing way more grief than you can have fun by having some kind of unsanctioned game like that, because all it takes is just one innocent bystander or something to misinterpret what you are portraying or whatever, right? And, maybe they don't see it's an orange tip on the gun. Maybe they don't realize that it's a bunch of kids playing a game or whatever. And then we've got law enforcement involved. And, they are so 0 to 100 that you don't want to screw around with those guys.
with the events that have happened throughout our history and stuff like that, the last thing they are going to treat you with force. That's how it is, right? Like if you're playing, let's say, for example, somewhere in a downtown building or something like that, and you guys are moving tactically and stuff like that, people are going to label you as
so many red flags.
Oh, they're gonna call you a terrorist or whatever it is, or you're doing something
or a militia or something.
Exactly.
This is gonna give me an aneurysm if we keep going on this topic.
So bottom line, guys, sign your waivers, pay admission, it pays for insurance, and play responsibly at a sanctioned field.
Yeah,
that's it. All right, let's dive on into our favorite platform, everybody's favorite platform. I'm going to be honest.
Everyone's most prevalent platform.
The best platform. Excuse you.
The most ergonomic platform.
Yeah, you don't like that, boy.
Assault rifles?
You know that for a fact. That
What did you just say?
You can't lie about that.
You don't see assault
I
rifle.
said assault rifles.
You mean Armalite rifles?
That doesn't
Yes,
exist.
There you go.
What do you mean?
Armalite.
Well, what do you mean? I know my history.
Can you educate me on this?
Yeah.
I thought AR stood for
I was actually gonna
assault
sneak
rifle.
in. I was
stands
actually
for
gonna sneak in an
Armalite.
AK here somewhere.
Armalite.
You keep that hot trash for
Okay.
some other day. But let's be honest, man. They are not as cool as ARs.
Okay. AR is Armalite, fully semi-automatic.
Oh, God. This terminology is terrible.
I knew it was. Okay. We'll stop screwing with you now. All right. So.
All right, yeah. So AR, Armalite,
the Armalite
AR-15,
platform.
AR-10, M4, M16, they're all the same.
Created by Eugene Stoner.
Yes, Eugene
yeah,
Stoner.
there you go.
There you go. So the reason AR platforms are been named AR platforms because it's, the design is similar to every one that's basically copied it and made it.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
It's just an odd coincidence that it rhymes with assault rifle.
It is.
Oh, is
I
that
guess so.
really a coincidence?
So it's based on basically Eugene Stoner's design. AR stands for Armalite, not assault rifle. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, we'll say it
And-
again and keep saying it.
and-
It's a 60-year-old rifle. They're actually
Yeah.
not that new.
Nope.
Shocker.
Nope.
You
They-
put all the key mod
Vietnam
on it.
era, man.
Just like-
yeah.
Just like
Those
cack
things are
rail.
sexy.
That cack
Yeah.
rail makes it look.
Yeah.
But it eventually, that design was basically like the U.S. military asked for a light rifle that was supposed to replace M14, right?
Yes.
I'm going to correct you on that one.
Yeah?
Because this is actually interesting.
Yeah.
The Air Force was the first division to request, a light weapon system for defensive purposes. And they approached Eugene Stoner at the time.
Really?
And the AR-15, the original one, was issued to the Air Force before it was issued to the Army. The Army jumped on board afterwards and did a whole bunch of
Tests,
kerfuffle
right?
stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
'cause-
They tried to sabotage the crap out of it, too.
I heard, yeah.
Because it was
Okay.
a private.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, it was a private
It was also
entity.
because it wasn't, I don't remember the name of it, but the company that produced the M14 was actually basically part of the military.
Springfield.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was
Springfield.
Springfield.
And
Yeah,
they
Springfield
had the
Armory.
contract from beforehand too. For
Oh,
what-
exactly.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the M14 had, like, the shortest service history.
It did. Yeah.
in the US.
It's actually still in service, so
Technically, no.
Well, I
because
mean,
it's not
like
standard issue.
No, it's not a standard issue battle rifle, but it is a dress rifle. They use it with all their parades and everything
For
like
their
that.
designating marksman, isn't it?
It
I don't
can
not
be.
anymore. No, they brought it out of the mothball area basically during Afghanistan when they
Afghanistan,
needed
they
something
brought
to
'em
reach a
back
little
up.
bit further.
And they're
then
they're
they made the
modified
EBR.
now. Yeah,
But
exactly.
if we're being honest here, like the M14, as cool and sexy as it is, it's it's an old platform, man. And the AR-15 came into place and kind of replaced that because it was space age and futuristic. But
Yeah,
it was also
well,
sexy as hell.
when that came in for like the Marines too, right? Like right during like Vietnam era too.
Yeah, I mean, it was around that time when it came in. And originally, when the U.S. deployed to Vietnam, they deployed with M14s.
M14s.
And then the
Shooting
Vietnams
7.62,
were
right? And then, it's
and they,
too heavy. It's way too.
Well, it was mostly because the Army was pushing this into service. So they pushed it into service with the U.S. military, and then for a period of time in testing in Vietnam and a lot of issues that they had with it. Afterwards, there was a lot of complaints with the AR-15, and then they went back to Eugene Stoner, corrected a few things here and there, and oddly enough, the Army didn't train their troops how to clean the weapon system. So that's kind of where the notorious sort of bad history of the rifle kind of came from. And then afterwards, it turned out to be a pretty damn good gun if you take care of it. You can carry a lot of ammo with them too.
yeah, well, going from 7.62 to 5.56, it's quite a difference in
it's
the
a big
load,
changer.
right? Exactly.
I mean,
Right.
but at the same time, like we could deep dive into the history all we want, but I mean, yeah, we kind of want to get into the good stuff now.
Okay, so I mean, basically, one of the big things that we can chop off the old chopping block, especially when it comes to airsoft and real steel and everything like that, is just the general question is why is it so popular for airsoft and for real steel? So if either one,
Ergonomics.
ergonomics is one. Okay, that's one.
Yeah, like that's a big one. I mean, if you're being honest, the controls are all in one area and they're easy to manipulate. You can physically see them when you look at the weapon system versus a lot of other weapons. You kind of have to fumble around with it basically to find what's going on or see where the issue is. And to remedy those issues, oddly enough, it's very easy, especially with a real one. And I mean, I could go into that for days, especially with like stoppage procedures and things of that nature. it's one of the easiest weapon systems to use, and it translates over to airsoft in that same segue, especially like with magazines. It's also super light, and then if you want to talk about like, it's like the Barbie doll of weapon systems.
Definitely does have a lot of customization
change
in parts.
Yeah, exactly. And the disassembly of it, I find, is very nice compared to, like, obviously, like, you know, the easiest comparison would be like the AK, right? Like you're saying, when it comes to the comparison of looking at the fire control system, it's the same thing, right? It's with your thumb, or, you know, some people use their index fingers for some weirdos and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's nice to manipulate it.
Exactly.
You know,
I find it to be an easy training platform.
Yeah, both training and I guess for user interoperability. Pardon my English, it's all poopy right now. But it's one of those systems that you can very easily get on the system. You can train with it, and then you understand it very quickly. Compared to a lot of other ones out there where the ergonomics aren't exactly up to speed. I mean, it's kind of funny because you look at every modern rifle that has come to light since that. It has a similar reminiscence to an AR-15 in how it's handled and how you would operate the system. So anything from the SCAR, the Masada, you want to break it down. I mean, everyone kind of bases it off of that because it is the most ergonomic system out there. I mean, it's so ergonomic to the point where the Russians are starting to integrate some concepts into their AKs.
Some of the new AKs, I was like, actually, speaking of that, I've recently seen some of these AKs with the charging handle now on both sides, and I'm starting to go like, oh, starting to copy our M4 brethren.
Well, I mean, you know, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree when you want to talk about good ideas, especially considering the fact that like the Russians are now switching to like tubular stocks that you can essentially adjust on the fly. The fire selector systems on AKs are now becoming thumb selectors, oddly enough.
Well, they've definitely made them easier. I've tried a couple airsoft AKs with the ergonomic selectors, and I'm not going to lie, with the ergonomic selectors, they now, like, this is where, like, I'm sort of torn on the issue between, like, which one's more ergonomic.
Oh man, I'll raise you on that one. You can change uppers on ARs. You can't do that with AKs.
Well, so this is true. So when you come down to the disassembly portion of it, definitely the AR wins hands down, especially in airsoft too, because maybe not so much in the AEG aspect of it, but like when it comes to the GBBR aspect, replicating the real steel portion of it, that's my favorite part of it. It's that I could literally have to take 2 pins out and the whole thing separates. I can store it easier that way. I can assess what's going on a lot easier
we
way.
can do the exact same thing with the real one. I mean, it's funny enough to say, and I mean, the reason why I say like being able to change uppers is super awesome. I mean, you won't do that in the military, mind you, but at the same time, in regards to airsoft or the civilian world, you can have a base gun to work off of, and then you can build a separate upper and you can swap out in between. That's something you don't often get with a lot of weapons platforms. Generally, you have to buy more than one at that point to sort of resolve, and that's kind of where the AR-15 is, like, I'll just say this outright, is superior to most designs, is the fact that it's so easily available to be changed out at any given time, versus a lot of other ones out there, you can't do that, let alone change the barrel length.
Actually, and this is very true, because you can go from your short, you know, let's say like your Mark 18 SOP mod style kind of thing, all the way up to your long boy M16, you know,
hell yeah, man.
A3.
I mean, back in the day, everyone did that with PTWs, and that was like the big deal. And I remember PTWs were like the hot take nowadays. Nowadays, everyone talks about Umbrella Armory or HPA. When PTWs were a thing, guys were taking real uppers and milling them down so they could fit on top of a PTW, so they could build a separate upper for their PTW, which was super cool. And then like that's where you saw a lot of guys putting real parts on their quote airsoft gun, which it was and still is. But yeah, I mean, I do it myself now. Because most AEGs follow like very similar specs to the real thing, so you might as well take the opportunity too if you can.
But that falls under replica.
It does until it comes to the part where you're firing it.
Exactly, and that's a very much gray area that we fall
you know, we're sticking by the law here. You know,
we are sticking by the law.
Yeah, if it's a couple inches off, we're good. Yes.
Yes.
I don't have serial numbers on them. That's as far as I go with replica.
But as far as accessory-wise, you can fit a lot of standard like weapon stuff into airsoft guns.
Yeah, well, generally speaking, it's a relatively a good idea if you can get the proper real accessory to put it on. One, it's more durable than the airsoft stuff, and generally speaking, like the spec tends to be a little bit better. I find that with stocks, especially. Stocks, optics is a whole other story. I can go down that rabbit hole too. And then same thing with like handguards, man. I mean, it's nice to have something that actually fits and stays on, or doesn't break when you squeeze it too hard.
Yeah, or it doesn't have that like wiggle room or slop that you find in a lot of the other parts and stuff like that. I find that's my biggest annoyance when it comes to.
Don't kid yourself. It's on real ones too.
Oh, well, exactly. when I started going to the range and stuff like that and shooting some of them, I'm going like, are you really? Like, oh man, my toy is better than this. It's
so if you lift up that M4 there with the Riz, that one, no, the other one. Yeah.
Come on, man. You know what a Riz is.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just like, which one do you want me to look at?
So that one, that Riz is basically for a real
CAC rail.
And it's been nicely secured in there, and it's not moving, and I love it. Like that's.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that. No, that's kind of important. It's kind of a good thing to note too. I mean, if you want to support. I'll say this much. You should support real companies if you have the opportunity to by purchasing their stuff. It helps their business out, and at the same time, like, you get a superior product, man.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I definitely stand by a lot of, like, obviously there's some, you know, things that I'll cheap out on and stuff like that, but when it comes to stuff that really, where it comes to like the functionality of it being really important, you don't want to cheap out on stuff like that, like belts, slings, certain rigs, sometimes, you're just playing, on the weekend and stuff like that. You can maybe cheap out on a Amazon style cardboard rig if you really want, but
dude, IKEA chest rig, man, it's coming.
I can make one of those.
The IKEA chest.
A lot of people can make one of those apparently.
Yeah.
Let me interrupt here. The movie guys are actually here. They want you to move your car.
Oh,
so
snap.
If you don't mind moving it towards the tower over there, so just follow over here. You'll see our cars there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're the last one. Me tacking back here. We'll just continue on here.
I'll segue out of here and segue back in.
Yep. So
pushy, those guys.
I know. Also, a good reminder, this weekend they're probably going to be here. More than likely,
and
they're going to be
coming
here.
back into it.
Yeah.
Movies happening in season.
Yes.
Pilots. Lots of pilots.
Well, okay. Well, and then we touched on money earlier. So people that were all like, why is the field so limited on play today? Well, the movie's paying a hell of a lot more money to own the field.
And there's less airsofters at this season. So there you go.
You guys want more say? Drop that moolah. It's hot at the admission window.
What's that? $40 admission? No.
Also, let's be honest here. They make nice sets for us, so
they do.
Hopefully they leave something
all the time.
Yes. As long as we don't put holes in them.
Yeah. It happens all the time. I know.
Where did we leave off here in our topics here that we could talk about?
So we were just talking more about just the ergonomics of the platforms and everything like that, and just why it's more superior in the sense compared to other weapons out there and whatnot.
I don't know. After, like, for me personally, like, if you give me my M4, for me personally,
did you already talk about how super easy it is to fix?
Well, so this is where I understand Poi's sort of aspect of it too, because I, being a person who is now kind of branched out and tried multiple platforms as well as some of the more modernized ones, I
understand why it's popular, and the ergonomics of it is there because
it's outstanding.
It's outstanding. You could watch a lot of YouTube out there to show like ergonomics, use, fast reloads. How to actually hold it properly.
When you come to
clamps.
The fast reload part, though,
it's training.
Well, exactly. The argument comes down to is that you are the fastest at whatever you train.
Yeah.
At, because. When it gets down to it, I have seen guys who do extremely crazy fast reloads on AKs, and I've seen just as crazy fast reloads on AR platforms as well. Yep. So it really comes down to, I guess, in the future or in the more modern time, is just what you like personally. But there is no doubt on it when it comes down to the fact that like it is very user friendly.
It is very user friendly, although I would say the maintenance is
tricky.
Like, you need to maintain your gun.
Well, you have to maintain it. There's no exception around it with the AR platform that you have to do maintenance on it just because.
Let's just talk ergonomics on it from my side of things. I've gotten so used to using an AR platform that for me, just holding it, shouldering it, right, and then you know, and then putting it up target and stuff, right away. It's super comfortable for me. I already have my shoulders all, like my elbows all tucked in. I'm not chicken wing, you know, this stuff. But yeah, and then moving on to a real AR, like I've shot real ARs as well as like an AR like 15.
Those are illegal.
What? now, yeah.
Thanks.
But I've gotten so used to it that yeah, for me it's just like I pick it up and then you know just like you know do some crazy transitions, do some.
No, you don't.
Okay, I use a pistol once in a while.
But you don't use a pistol. Transition though.
That is true. I just transitioned to a mag. Okay.
I was gonna say you might do some cool mag reloads.
I was like, somebody needs to double back here. Don't do podcasts. Yeah. I don't switch to my blog.
Either way.
Reload and get your primary up than to switch to your pistol.
No, 100%. So I understood his point of view on that because I knew you'd probably agree with that too. Is get the long gun back up.
Yeah.
But in that immediate stoppage or jam malfunction, whatever it is, it's so much easier for you to just transition to that second, depending on how you train and depending on how you set up.
In airsoft, because everything shoots 6mm.
Yep.
Yeah, why not? But when you're talking about real world scenarios, man, you want to get that gun back up as quickly as possible. Your pistol's pretty much there basically as a last resort.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Throw in body armor, and I'm not putting my pistol up around the corner
Dude,
first.
it's cool to rock John Wick and looks like slick, but seriously, man, like you
that better be some 45 in there. I tell you
what.
what.
Kick your ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. So going back to what I was saying, it's comfortable for me. I am so used to using an AR, right? And then it also applies to a lot of different
That's
sort
because
of.
they're the best gun system out
Yes,
there.
we all know this.
Hey, I'm not knocking it, okay?
No,
Most of
no
my
one's
guns
knocking
are
it.
ARs
No one's
too,
knocking it.
like, you know?
I won't burn an AK, man. I still like them and everything
they're
like
great
that.
guns,
But at the end of the day, I'll still pick up my AR.
I'm not gonna lie though. I'm slowly becoming an AK boy.
Oh, gross.
I'm been slowly being convinced otherwise.
Let's go around the table. Who wants to show off their ergonomics on their?
Ooh.
Go.
Ergonomics?
Yeah, go.
Yeah, if you want to show
That's
it.
a nice green furniture one. And no, this is not a C8 or a
Yeah,
C7.
that a lot
Is that
of people.
C8?
For the love of
Yeah,
God,
for
like,
a lot of people
Actually,
that
if
get
you're looking at
mistaken.
Yeah, that looks
Before
like a
you
C8.
start, this is basically just a standard M4 build.
Yeah.
This is
Precisely.
this is what everyone's used to seeing in movies, seeing in military movies.
I
Standard.
believe that's what is standard issue.
It
at
is.
the
This
moment.
is what standard
That was
issue is.
before
And
A1.
I just basically
For
like
the U.S. Army.
Yeah.
no attachments. I usually put like if it's night games and stuff, I usually put my D-ball in there. Other than that, no attachments at all. I'm so used to just running this. You can see the rubber grips there. I'm so used to just running it like naked.
Just bare bones, yeah.
Just bare bones because I
need a lot
enjoy the lightweight as well. That's one of those things as well. It's like, do I want to add crap to it or do I want
Well, the
to?
nice part is when you add crap to ARs, they're still lightweight. When you add crap to
That
AKs,
is true.
They weigh as much as a machine gun.
That
He
is
is
true.
not wrong on that part.
Yeah, but this is a standard
Definitely.
M4 build, M4A1,
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty bare bones. It's pretty vanilla. I mean, I like vanilla. So.
Hey, it's great.
go wrong
You
with
can't go wrong.
But go ahead, Dave.
All right, so let's break. I guess I'll break it down for you guys because everyone seems to Google this thing. This is not an M4. Let's
Yeah.
be clear about that. This is an M16.
You could center it close to right over your mic. Yeah.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
So it's got an A1 lower, not an M4. It's an A1 lower. It's like legit. So it's got the straight cut and everything like that. And I won't break it down into all the little nuances and the differences, but it's different. It's got the A1 grip and everything like that. And then the stock is actually a 3-position. It's not a 6-position or a 5-position. The front up here, I got a 12.5 custom barrel that I kind of made myself essentially to fit a 203 on it. It's based off of the IDF versions of the M653.
I was about to say, it looks familiar.
Very familiar, oddly enough. And then the upper receiver is, oddly enough, an M4 upper. There was a point when the IDF actually started replacing the A1 carrying handles with Picatinny rail covers, or Picatinny rail uppers, flat tops, I should say, so they could start putting optics on it, such as
So
this
you're
M21.
going for more the impressionist kit at this point.
No.
No?
No, because this is not kosher.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
This is not a standard IDF issued rifle. I mean, it technically would be if it had all the original
The
furniture.
sights look
that you put your
familiar.
own on. Yeah, the M21. I love
Yeah.
the sight.
Gotcha.
So compared to a lot of airsoft optics, I mean, it's obviously it's just about as much
Is
as
that
the
real
gun.
steel or is that
Yes.
like
That's
okay,
a- that's a
gotcha.
real
It's a
one, yeah.
Meprolite. It's a proper real one too. It's powered by light and tritium. Super radioactive, by the way.
Let's not drop that.
Don't
Tritium.
worry, these are like battle-proof, man. You can
Okay.
drop these and they hold up. There's still pictures of IDF soldiers that have the entire top basically broken off and the optic still works, and they've kept them around for 20 years, and now they're replacing them.
No.
Yeah, and then I got an M203 on it because I love grenade launchers, and grenade launchers are the shit. Yep. It's nice to have secondaries.
Yeah, it's a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
that looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, still a standard AR platform, guys.
100%, man. Hasn't changed that much. It just dressed up a little bit differently.
So for you,
Definitely
usage-wise, is it comfortable with that grenade launcher on it?
Oh,
or
hell yeah, man. I mean, I can use this left hand, right hand, you name it. At the same time, like the grenade launcher is an easy place. Normally I run an M203 foregrip right underneath so I can push it, but lately I kind of like it just a little bit more sling.
And you like using the sling, too.
Yeah, that's the profile. And oh, hell yeah, man. Why wouldn't you run a sling?
I don't run a sling.
That's
He hates slings.
that's
I hate
disgusting.
slings.
Yeah, that's why he doesn't transition.
I know somebody that doesn't do real milsim.
Hey, but whenever I went to Milsim's, he's using my AK, and that one has the actual
he's
sling
got
on
a
it.
sling.
Oh, see,
Yeah,
now he's got,
yeah,
now he's
yeah.
talking about
Yeah,
slings.
yeah.
When you got
There
to
you
carry
go.
some for a while, it starts to get
Yep.
heavy. Oh, man.
I totally understand. When it comes to my M4, I'll just dump in and just.
All right, trusty Glock.
Pop, 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 hopes and dreams out the door.
Oh yeah.
I will say this much, though. Don't be that guy to make that mistake and not bring a sling.
Oh my
I
God,
did
bring
that
a
on an
sling.
exercise,
Yeah.
and that was a nightmare.
Yeah.
Bring a
yeah.
sling,
You
guys.
always just try to figure out where to put the
Well,
rifle.
you think
dude.
you're cool for the first 30 minutes, and you might survive that first 30.
It's just great to be able to put it away and know
Yeah.
that it's still on you.
Exactly.
Last thing you want to do is lose your primary.
Yeah,
100%.
the last thing. Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's not cool.
It's a lot of
does
punishment
that?
for you if you lose your
It's,
primary.
yeah.
No, man, no amount of amnesty bush is going to save you from that.
Other than that, comfortable, easy to use. You like it.
Best weapons platform, easiest to manipulate.
Any who wants to jump in?
So, Schoolboy, have you had a chance to play around with the gas versions of M4?
I have.
Okay, so do you have a preference, or for reliability's sake, you just go with an AEG?
I will always go with an AEG for the sake of airsoft. The only reason why is that I'm all about play. So at the end of the day, when I come out here, I want my stuff, pardon my language, to work. With gas guns, they're cool. But oh my Lanta, reliability, you can throw that right out the window, man.
Yep, I know.
Yeah.
I am the GBB user here.
Yeah, unless it's like powered by like hot
sun.
steaming lava, that stuff is not.
Nope.
It's not consistent at
Yeah,
all.
there's no consistency with them. I've tried that before, and at the end of the day, like I've gone through everything from a WE. I'm hesitant to try the new Tokyo Marui MWS system.
Apparently they're really good.
They are
I've
really
heard
nice.
they're really good, but TM's always been notoriously good for producing an extremely good product until you screw with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Once the fairy dust is gone, it is gone.
Yeah, the TM fairy dust. Shocking, they're still around.
Who else wants to jump in with their ergonomic builds here?
Let's show off Schoolboy's other one, because I don't think I have mine out here right now.
Ooh, go this one.
Oh man, the L1 19A1 or the C8 SFW.
Yeah,
this is some kosher stuff right here.
This is why we brought you here. You got some really good stuff.
Oh, thank you.
This is like an AR. Like,
Yeah.
No, it's like legit, man. And I'm building another one too to be more kosher in line with the Canadian Forces style of weapon system.
Oh, that's
this
nice.
this looks more like an English Special Forces version. You got the M320 on the front with the CAC rail. Oh, you've got the 15.7-inch barrel with the Simon sleeve on the end. Super hard to find, by the way.
Yeah,
Yep.
tell me
And
about
then,
it.
I mean, for me, the real bread and butter is actually getting like the real parts that Dymaco manufactured back in the day. That
stuff
big
that's
old
still
wheel of it.
around.
Yeah.
Is it
So
Damacia or how do you pronounce it?
Dymaco.
Yeah.
Dymaco.
Yeah.
Okay.
it's okay. I said DeMarco for the longest
I
time.
said Damacio.
Dymaco?
Yeah,
That one's good.
Yeah. But I mean, it's cool, man. I got the real buttstock on here. I got old school carrying handle. This thing is like super hard to find. It's got the D on the back, so you
Super
know you're hard
nice.
for it.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the same time, like in terms of like airsoft, it's nice to have stuff that closely replicates the real thing to a certain degree. I mean, it won't be as fun in the same sense that you can rack the action and all that kind of stuff, but the weight's somewhat similar. I just wish the barrel was steel. That's just my preference.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree.
We're like, what's the base build on that at that point?
It's a C8, and it's a GMP version.
No, GMP.
Yeah.
Okay.
And these actually, oddly enough, are super rare now. Toronto Airsoft had a limited run of these, and if you can still log onto their website, I strongly suggest if you want a C8, you buy the crap out of this
They
right
still
now.
have a limited run number 3.
Trades, go.
Yeah, they got the real trades and everything like that, and there's only a couple hundred guns actually produced, which is pretty cool. It's
Why
got the
haven't you bought it
Demago
yet?
D.
You want to rub it in your American friends' faces? Buy now.
Yeah. Why
Not
haven't you
not
bought it
available
yet?
anywhere else but Canada.
Forgot to add, the internals are pre-upgraded too, and they're actually legitimately
Pre-upgraded?
good. Yes. So you got a 160 GMP or a 170 double jet motor.
Yes, they do. The
And then a full steel
motor's
rack piston
amazing.
and everything. It's a fantastic base gun to buy.
What happened to my gun tack when I opened it? It died.
Yeah, well, your gun is a different story.
Oh, it was a different story.
Yeah. Not all of them are pre-upgraded, unfortunately. It
So they're
seems.
sleepers.
Yeah, some of them are, some of them aren't.
Yeah, some are legit, some
Didn't
aren't.
even play with it. Literally plugged it in. Wow. I was like, ah.
Wait, what brand?
Is
The same thing.
GMP?
It was the same
one?
thing. Yeah, exactly. His
I
had
grabbed one right after you had
way.
mentioned it. Like,
he-
probably
well,
like
man,
a
Yeah, the
month.
one he had was a full stock polycarbonate piston, but the one that I had actually had a full metal rack
Well, that's
piston.
interesting because both of mine came with full metal rack pistons.
Yeah,
and
so
one
it's-
came with a 160 motor and the other one
Yeah,
came with a
so-
170, which shocked me.
So mine has a 160 GMP motor for it, as well
Oh,
as
so
the
good.
Full metal rack piston.
Oh,
But
so
Mac
good.
had
170.
his has no label on his motor.
Oh, did it not?
But his had the full polycarbonate and it stripped.
Yeah, well, I mean, polycarbonate pistons, they
It's terrible.
strip.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's terrible.
they strip and they shatter.
Yeah, well, like I literally all we did was cycle it. Remember? And I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah. Plugged in a new battery and
It happens, man.
Yeah, it's all good. It happens.
yeah.
Sometimes you
happens.
can't avoid the limits.
You can't. You
They're
can't.
out there.
But it's okay. I got trades. That's what matters.
Hey, man, it's the trades that matter, and then the secondary part is once you got that, you keep that. Ain't nobody
it's a
gonna have that.
collectible. It's 100% collectible.
I'm never letting that go.
That's why I got.
So that's a wall hanger for you then.
Oh, it's
No,
my
I
Milsom
play
plate.
with
It's
it. Funny
yeah.
joke. I don't actually hang my guns on the wall and just leave them there. I actually
Yeah.
like to play with my stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, one of the wonderful things too is GMP doesn't, have that same problem that some of the other fancy guns do. Like I know we all love Crytek and stuff like that, but unfortunately, they're called crack for a reason as well.
Who would have thought not reinforcing the back by putting the screw all the way through to the buffer tube was a bad idea?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Someone should read the blogs.
Oh man, crazy.
Yeah, maybe that'll change in the future. We'll see.
Maybe manufacturers will. Yeah.
FYI, it's a good idea to pay attention to your guns too, and make sure that everything that you get is aftermarket compatible if you can. It saves you a lot of time and hassle. I love that companies innovate, but I hate the fact that they make stuff so proprietary at times.
Yep.
You can't fix it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Unless
If
you
it
go
breaks.
And you have to
directly
buy their own
them.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the real question comes into play is their customer service good? That's questionable depending on the
Yeah.
company.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it depends who you get.
Yeah, I'm gonna
I'll,
say
I'll
it's
say
like-
I'll say that.
It's
for
hit or
that,
miss.
yeah.
I'd say it's like 60-40.
Not like some other companies where I'll say
Sometimes they're really good at getting back to you, and then all of a sudden when they get back to you, then there's no information there. And then there's other ones that are like getting back to you in like the longest amount of time possible. You think that they forgot, and
Yeah,
then
or
all
you
of
buy
a
the
sudden,
smallest part, and then you got to pay $25 for shipping. How great is that?
yeah, that one.
Yep.
Hey, can I buy the spring? Yeah, it's $4. Oh, by the way, the shipping's $25. Why
Yeah,
can't
we
you do
only-
that?
We just talked about that for gas stuff.
Yeah.
You just need that one screw.
It's not any difference with
Exactly.
AEGs when you have like
Yeah.
proprietary parts. I mean, don't even get me started on like Tavors from like Aries. When I ordered parts from them, I ordered batches of parts because I wanted to get my money's worth on the shipping.
Exactly.
before it
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
expensive.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
Exactly.
instead of buying
Package
one
of screws.
replacement screw, you're buying 5. You're
Oh,
gonna be
yeah,
able
baby.
to build 5 of these guns if it ever breaks down.
Not build 5, you're going to be able to replace 5.
You're gonna be able to fix it 5 times. That's it.
Rebuild.
At what point is it still worth money?
Do you two have your own platforms here? Your ARs?
Well, so we brought our Crytek out.
Okay.
Cry cracks.
Yeah.
I mean, they're good.
They are good.
Yeah. As far as like getting them right off the bat, they're good.
so this is my SPR. It's same thing.
It's a long boy.
It's a long.
It's like it's basically an M16 at that point. No?
Are you kidding
Yes?
me?
No? No? The length?
Dude,
no?
that's what? That's a 14.5.
Is it 14?
inch barrel?
Oh, it's not a 16. Never mind.
It's a 16-inch barrel.
SBR stands for short barrel rifle.
No, SPR. So it's a special purpose rifle.
Oh.
But,
Oh, okay.
So technically,
It can do DMR stuff.
Yeah, exactly. That's that weird name for the
5.56
to
DMR?
designate for guys who want to be special.
I'm
and
gonna
call
throw a
themselves
scope on it, and I'm a sniper.
Exactly. Yeah.
That can still
Airsoft.
pull auto.
So
Airsoft.
for myself, I keep it really, really clean,
They all
just
shoot the same
because
range.
the Defiance handguard that they have on here and everything like that is really slim and stuff, and I really like it. It doesn't have a lot of the fancy M-lock hand grips that some of the other newer guns
Bro, it's
coming
got
out with
key
and stuff
mod.
like that.
That's already out to date.
I'm
one to talk though.
exactly. Unfortunately, it's got the key mod and stuff like that, which does make it a little bit heavier than the M-lock, but
How's it heavier? I thought they're like the same weight. In
Depends
terms of
on the rail thickness.
Really?
but from what I've heard, M-lock is supposed to be lighter weight
It is
compared
supposed to be.
So what is
key mod and
the
stuff like that.
current like attachment system for rails?
For which?
Yeah, for who and for
Are we
where.
referencing
For what,
Airsoft or
yeah.
real world?
Yeah.
Because
Real world,
Real
let's
world, I
say.
think it's still key mod, isn't it?
Bro, we still run Picatinny rails in
Yeah.
that cast.
So-
with plastic handguards.
Yeah.
So Pickett's like this,
pretty
the
awesome.
one that I have on Man 4 is still
Hell yeah.
current.
Well,
Yeah.
that's still standard issue for the
Yeah.
Marines.
Okay.
Yeah, when it comes to like the consumer
Actually, I
end, like
think
let's say
Marines
guys in
and the
America
Army.
and stuff like that, who buy guns all the time and want to
Do you
change
want to
and
know why
upgrade
the
their stuff.
Americans haven't fully adopted M-lock across the board or key mod?
Because they have
It's
I
expensive.
was
Yeah,
gonna say
yeah.
it's a lot.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
Picatinny
you-
rail's cheap, and you can't really go wrong.
Well,
and
that and
everyone
also,
already has it.
yeah.
well, that and also you got to buy every little bit of accessory and everything like that. Well, let's say you get like the CAC rail, boom, you got a quad rail.
Oh,
You can
dude, it's
attach
great,
anything
great for
wherever you want
civilians
on
and
there.
like
Yeah.
all the guys on high speed end of things and stuff like that. Because you can build some pretty damn light ARs. But I'll
Yeah.
say this much: like I'm a bit of a Puritan for like old school stuff. I like the Cadillacs of like ARs, like the XM series from Vietnam, plastic furniture.
Plastic furniture all the way.
Plastic
Yeah.
furniture, aluminum, buttstock.
But here's the kicker though. That stuff was actually super light, and it's still super light, and it works really well.
And it felt like plastic. That was the problem and complaint that they had back in those times too, right? Is
It felt like
gonna
it felt
break.
like a toy that
It
went
felt like it
bang.
was gonna
100%,
fall apart.
yeah.
Yeah, until they started putting like polymer fragments into it
Yeah,
and
exactly.
creating the newer stuff nowadays.
Oh, but well, just to say, and just like but like getting back to it, it's like I like running, just a clean platform, just because it makes it super easy to use. It looks really nice, clean, and stuff like that.
Do you shoot with the sights?
No, actually, these sites are broken.
Airsoft.
It's airsoft.
Who uses sites?
Yeah, who
He's a
uses
bore-sighter.
who uses sights in airsoft?
This guy.
Okay, well, unfortunately, my guns aren't tuned to a T, so shooting it through a sight would be useless.
It's for those night games, man, when you actually have to take a sight picture and shoot at something.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, yeah. I mean, for my M4, I shoot with the red dot as well.
Oh, hell yeah.
But I have it ranged to a certain range though, because everything else is too far or it's
Yeah.
too close, and then it's like
Yeah,
going
yeah,
over your
yeah.
head.
Don't kid yourself. It's the same thing for real steel, man.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, and then you're using like IR systems, which is super ninja.
Yeah, it's a whole nother- it's a
Yeah,
whole
that's
nother-
me. I just put on the IR sights and I'm like, I'm good.
Fun fact, if you turn it on, the other guy on the other end with night vision can see it.
Yep.
You think you're being sneaky.
But you're not.
So the last one here, just to like show off and stuff like that. So it's just another Crytek, real nice, simple. It's the Crytek War Sport LVOA.
Where are
So-
your sights?
Huh?
Where are your sights?
I lost them.
Okay.
How do you lose your optics?
I lost
Airsoft.
a $200 red dot out in the forest. If
You
can
lost a
find-
$200 red dot in the forest.
Yeah, if you can find it, it's yours.
Bro,
Actually, if you
tie
find
it
it,
down.
please give it back. If anyone finds it, please give it back. But yeah, so I've got this one's real nice. It's from Crytek. It comes with this really nice, like kind of like unique looking. I think it's supposed to be like a wire cutter rail or something like that. It was meant to cut
where
barbed wire.
pretty much you
chain
put it
links.
right there and
You're able to shoot,
Yeah.
and cut the link or something.
I
But
don't know anybody in the history of the military who's ever done that.
I don't
but
even
it's still
know
cool.
who had it. Yeah, like if anyone even had it issued to them.
Hey,
or
it looks
just-
cool. That's
It
all that
does, it looks
matters.
cool.
Well, the only ones, and to be honest with you, when it comes down to it, the only ones I actually ever seen are the AK ones being used more often
AK
than
wire
not.
cutters?
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, the AK muzzle brakes and stuff like that being used for those
Yeah,
applications.
I know which one it is. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
seen it. Yeah.
So I mean, it's a beautiful gun. It's kind of one of the reasons that I bought it. And yeah, like War Sport is gone now. So
What? War Sports gone?
I'm pretty sure. So that's
Well,
why.
as far as we know,
That's why-
The real company? Is
Yeah,
Airsoft?
like this
you
is
get-
why this is now a collector's item.
Yeah, like
Wow.
the airsoft version is the only one that
It's
you
the,
can
yeah,
get.
you can't get like the real steel one. or
Yeah,
something
apparently
like
they.
This is news to me.
Yeah, they went out of
Same
business
here.
or
that. I
something
remember
like that
getting
last
a big
year.
uproar, but if I'm wrong, please someone inform me.
I just remember seeing an article about it. Yeah, they said that they were going to stop producing the LVOA because of
It always comes down to something to do with licensing, right? I have no
something
idea
like that.
where it
Yeah,
stands
exactly.
right now.
But Crytek still has the licensing for it, so they're still
Yeah.
producing the airsoft.
But yeah, so all in
Interesting.
all, it was a great gun. It's from Crytek. It worked great out of the box. I ran it stock until it broke. Then I gutted it and threw a Polar Star into it. And then I got sick of that. And then my tech, high tech, we built.
Should we start calling him Tech Tech?
no, careful. The Montreal guys might get mad.
Oh.
Tactic. Oh, those
I don't even know how to pronounce that name correctly.
the duty tactic.
All I know is I've looked at
It's a ducky. It's ducky.
It's Ducky. It's not Dookie. You set me up for that.
Hey,
I'm sorry.
let's all agree it's something in French.
It is. Yeah. Sorry. Okay. But yeah, so it's a great gun all in all. Yeah, like again, I always like it's just like everyone's already touched on already and stuff like that. I do love the ergonomics of just the AR platform. A lot of my stuff already is geared towards that platform with my kit. You know, I guess a lot of my muscle memory and stuff like that from running drills on this particular one. So if you threw an AK at me, I'd probably be like a fish out of water. So
My favorite part
it's kind
about
of like the
throwing
reason
an
why
M4
I'm
an AK and
I'm
an M4 guy
I'm an
is they
Apple
can't
guy
be
though,
loaded.
right? Like I'm way too far in here. Like if I were to back up, like man, I'm ripping up like 20 years of my life here. You know, like
Lies.
like I'm an Apple guy through and through till I die, like because I'm just way too far gone. Like, you know.
Oh man,
Improvise, adapt, overcome.
Exactly.
this guy's gonna do great in infantry.
We have we have this guy here. This is standard M16.
Yeah, that's going back to like some
yeah.
classic stuff right there.
Yeah, M16 A2 version or
No,
I mean,
that's-
it
that
should
would
be
an
A1. It
A3?
should be an A1, isn't it? Because
That's
it's
an
an
A3.
That's
It's
an
an
A3.
A3. Okay.
It's got a flat top upper on it with the
Oh
A2
yeah, the
carrying
flat
handle.
top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are never issued in the real world, but they're pretty cool. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I actually like the OG M16s, like the long length boys and things like that. That's a
Yeah, no,
rifleman's rifle.
that's why I fell in love with it because I'm like, okay, cool. I didn't like the ones with the rails on it. I just
Yep.
like the plastic handguard on it.
Fun fact.
Handling it is actually really fun, and
Yeah, man, we still use the plastic handguards on C7s, and I still like them, man.
They're
Yeah.
still good. It's
you know what the best part is? Battery compartment is so big.
So,
oh my
yeah,
god.
From an airsoft perspective, 100%.
Oh,
Like
man,
I
remember
always tell
Nightcats?
guys, yeah. I always tell guys who have this platform who would always want to switch to like a tubular, but buffer tube system. I just tell them
You
like,
are
no, you
minusing
want
so
to
much to
keep
me.
this one because one,
Yeah.
you could keep 3-4 batteries in there. So if you're at a Milsim, like literally plug and play in the back.
I
you know,
have like the biggest one you can get for the RC one that fits in
Oh,
here.
it's like a fuck off.
so-
battery.
Like the 3,000 milliamp.
Yeah, 3,000 milliamp with like
bricks.
how like 65 or 40 C or 50 C or something like that.
So disgusting, right?
So there's a guy who showed up last year where he had this super tricked out one, and it was the same thing with combat machine body and everything like that. And the battery he had was like a
man, he had a
80C
sleeper gun.
5,000 milliamp battery. It was a huge, big brick, and to hear this thing shoot was insane, man. And
It's
again,
funny you're saying
right?
combat machine. I'll flip it around and
Oh,
what
yeah.
is it?
Yeah,
It's
there
a
you go.
combat machine. It's actually a mashed up like I
Arguably
forgot.
speaking, the best rifle that G&G's ever produced.
Hey, it's one
It's
of
actually a
the-
mashup of two different guns. The top is from another gun. I forgot what model it was, but I had Devin fit it, and then the bottom is just a G&G like lower with the original gearbox that I won from Toronto Airsoft
Oh my God.
mystery box. And I'm like, why don't I just, because I needed to repair the M16 one that I had. I'm like, why don't I just take this and mash it in here? And he's like, yeah, that can be done.
Look at that,
Airsoft.
folks. Look at that. AR-15 solving problems again with superior ergonomics.
And parts that can mismatch.
Parts compatibility is a big thing.
Yeah, that's
I was
a big
gonna say
thing.
you cannot do that with an AK. You can't just slap the upper and throw it like. It
Unless
doesn't
you're
work
working
that
on
way.
one AK, it's the same with the other one, right?
Yeah,
Like,
with a 47 and a 47.
Swap that barrel.
I was just gonna say, even then, I'm just telling you guys right now, it's gonna take me half an hour.
Like right on the bat. Sorry, guys. It's
Hold
not
on, guys. I gotta set up my AK DMR. It's gonna take me a little bit of time.
Oh, you want a longer barrel? Half an hour still.
yeah, but this is
Bro, I
definitely
haven't even got
my
the first one out yet.
this is definitely my longest like.
No,
Like
your SR25 is
SR25
longer.
shoots further.
Yeah.
This one shoots about the same range. But yeah, this one shoots further than my M4 for sure. So that's why I love it, because it's basically my sleeper gun, and I love it. It's
clean,
flat
man.
hopped
I
and
love
everything. So
Man, I thought about buying a CM16 and literally just dropping a new gearbox into it and just turning it into a sleeper gun. It's stupid how like lightweight those are for the polymer stuff.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
honestly, for like G&G polymer guns, those are arguably the best ones on the
yeah,
market.
Well,
they are.
So exactly, when you mentioned that, out of all the ones that I've seen, G&G ones don't break necessarily, like they crack or whatever
they're
it is.
flexible.
Yeah.
yeah.
Weird.
It's the flex that you want.
Yeah,
deflection in the gun.
compared to guns like
transfer.
Lancer Tactical, where I've literally seen them shatter and fall apart in the field.
Because they can't transfer the kinetic.
Exactly,
energy, yeah.
all the way up to what was that other one that was really popular?
ICS?
No.
Well,
It's not
ICS
Aries?
is hit or miss. Yeah. Yeah, no, but ICS is a hit or miss, because I've seen some ICS guns, like their lower end guns, yes, but their higher full metal guns are really, really nice. Yeah. So it depends who you go for, I guess, you know.
Oh, man.
When you talk about this actually gets into the next topic, really, about reputable companies.
Ooh, this is a fun one. I love talking about this.
Well, so
Love
exactly
talking
for
about
yourself
companies.
being around for so long in the industry and everything like that. So it's like, what's your hot takes on this?
Hot take. One, most of your stuff should be based off of TM spec, oddly enough.
Yep.
And I'm not talking about like go buy yourself an old school TM M4. Those are creaky plastic things that deserve to be hung on a wall. But I'm talking
They're
like
collector's pieces for a
yeah,
reason.
precisely. But
Yeah.
I still try and sell them for like $600. I'm like, why the hell do you sell for that
I
much?
could basically like run off that. Remember when you sold me this? You
Yes,
told
I
me
do.
not to buy it.
Yeah.
There you go.
12
so
years ago, like-
yeah, no, 10 years ago.
10 years ago, man.
And I was like, cool, I like the feel of it, right? Because it's like it's an electronic
You wanted
blowback.
you wanted the recoil on the electric blowback, and I specifically told him like, don't buy that, man. It's gonna break because of that.
Yeah, and then literally like not even a couple of months later, it broke, and
Oh, yeah.
then I had my
Ooh,
uncle
shocker.
basically fix it again, and then it broke. And I fixed it again,
really?
and then it broke. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. Disabled the electric blowback, the blowback system that they have for the Bolt system. So this is a Bolt Airsoft one.
Yeah, that's old.
So they're at that time they were pretty new.
They were they were one of
They were the earliest ones to do electric
one of-
blowback.
one of the few.
And they're pretty good now.
Yep.
Yeah,
They've
they're
gotten a lot better
really
over the
good now.
years.
But back then, it's one of those things where you want to be unique. You get ready to pay the price for
exactly.
repairs, and especially with something this new back then,
Intricate. And yeah,
you're having to go to the company and get the just like
manufacturer to fix it.
yeah, the
you're not
it's a
gonna
good
go to
thing.
Trigger
The
and stuff,
only
yeah.
reason I could get it repaired that many times is because they came like good customer service.
Oh, yeah.
Every time
That's
I
a
emailed
big part
them,
of it.
they're like, "Oh, it broke." They sent me new gears. Oh, it broke. They sent me new gears again.
That's the best part, though. If you get a company that one innovates, but at the same time is responsive, and you're okay with that, and
Yeah.
they're not cough Aries, they will actually help you out quite well. And I mean, not to trash on Aries or anything like that, but their motto, or "We are legend," legendary for. Poopy guns. Like their externals are amazing, but oh my god, their internals just throw it out the door and burn it. Yeah.
But as far as like my experience with the Bolt, I had like it bad to begin with because I'm an early adopter, but customer service good, made up for it.
Yeah, you still got it.
and it's a pretty solid gun.
Still works too, right?
Still works. Yeah.
Well, they are definitely, from when I look at guys who look for shells and stuff like that, the old Bolt shells are
Oh, yeah.
definitely sought after
Yeah.
for a lot of guys who want to make like HPA platforms and stuff.
It's
just
a great
because
shell, yeah.
they were they're a great solid shell. They were I don't want to say they were cheap, because they weren't cheap, right?
They weren't cheap at all.
But they're cheap compared to some of the other stuff that's available now.
For $700 back then, that is not cheap. I can tell you.
Yeah.
700?
Yeah.
Well,
He's
But
spent a
hey,
pretty
I
penny
mean,
on that thing.
remember Julian told us that those old TM guns used to be $1,000 a piece.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and some of them still
Right.
are. Even the new ones nowadays, like Schoolboy was mentioning earlier, the MWS, right? Those
those are
guys,
super
the new
cool.
gas ones.
they
yeah.
go for $1,000. Just
And they only shoot 230 feet per second.
yeah, exactly.
Just got to
So-
change out those valves.
In terms of reputable companies, right? I'm going to say Bolt is one of them because I used them before. The newer generation of Bolt, not the old one like mine.
Yeah.
What's another one that you guys can think of right away? I mean, G&G was just, or
GMP.
GMP. Yeah.
If you don't go to their i5 series, their i5 series has a few issues with their MOSFETs. But if you're talking about like their original like Tokyo Marui versions, essentially with the TM style gearbox, they are solid as a rock. The gearbox is actually legitimately made of steel, so you won't run into cracking issues. It's reinforced, and other than that, GMP's internals, bone stock, they run like a workhorse too. And I like that myself. I mean, oh my God, all my guns are practically GMP with the exclusion of my ICS MP5. And that's another great company too, ICS, which you don't see a lot of out here. But they're another company that likes to innovate too and comes up with a lot of good ideas, but they also make sure their stuff works, which is kind of surprising. Yeah.
What about their customer service?
I don't actually know about ICS's customer service because I've never dealt with them directly, but I do know that their parts are easily available on the aftermarket, and you can find them left, right, and center.
Yeah, you can order them online quite easily. They're really easy to work on, at least in my opinion, from a tech perspective. The split gearbox, some people hate it, some people love it. My opinion is, just from the tech perspective, it makes it easy to work on stuff. So.
Yeah, well, most airsoft companies, oddly enough, are starting to slowly progress to a split gearbox concept. I mean, you're starting to see shells now that are V2 shells that you can take apart in two pieces once you take it out.
Yeah.
So you can keep the compression system separately. I
But
kind of like
a
the
lot
idea.
more quick change springs coming into it and everything
Well,
like that.
true quick change springs
true
too,
quick
where you
change.
can
Sorry,
actually,
sorry.
because I've seen a lot of people do mods to
that's-
their guns to make them true quick
Dude,
change springs.
that's a hot joke when you talk about quick change
I
springs.
know.
Well, so actually, yeah, exactly.
Well, it's something
That's
that
a whole-
we've touched on in the past about how it's like, it's not a quick
Another one
change.
that popped into mind is actually SEMA, and they're still around.
Yep.
SEMA's
Well,
been good.
SEMA
They
actually
make
produces.
great
They're also a
AKs.
very old company
Well, I've
too.
never-
at
I've never
this
seen
point.
an
the
M4
original
from them.
too. That
Yeah.
started producing full metal AEGs. A lot of their stuff was based off of like original TM, and they had their really weird bloody numbering system. Still use it, but between their AKs and their ARs, SEMA actually makes a really good product at a very affordable price.
Yes.
And it's
ridiculously,
compatible.
ridiculously affordable.
Sometimes it's so cheap, you're like, should I buy it?
Well, exactly, and that's the point too. Is that when you look at it from the American market perspective, their guns go for as cheap as like $100 US, I believe.
Yeah.
And it's
at some point,
insane.
right?
Yeah.
And so when you see it in the Canadian market,
I'm
you
jealous about
see
their
like a
gas
full
mags.
metal gun or like a full working polymer gun for our price of $200. You're like,
Oh, dude,
was that gonna break?
I'm telling you right now.
Like,
go on I think it's WolverineSupplies.com or CA. It's a firearms distributor basically in Canada. They just started selling airsoft stuff, and they sell SEMAs.
There you
and
go,
their
okay.
SEMAs are actually priced at around 250 Canadian.
That's
for a
sweet.
full
That's
metal,
nice. That's
full
nice.
metal gun.
That's
Yeah.
nice to see.
And then moving over to the AK world too for SEMAs.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, do they have a wide selection of it?
Before
A lot of
LCT,
sleepers.
those were the legit.
Oh, yeah.
prices.
Yeah, definitely.
You can't go wrong there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
ASG makes a good M4.
Isn't ASG? Don't they just talk to companies and then have companies produce it for them? Because
Maybe,
I
I
heard
don't
that they don't produce their own stuff.
I wouldn't know who would be the one that makes it then, because my first airsoft gun was an ASG M4, and I ran that for a year and a half
Yeah, they're pretty
stock.
good.
I went to 2 mil sims.
Yeah.
I ran that thing on 11.1s. I full autoed like crazy. I ran it till it died, and then
Well, the only reason it died was because you fell on it and the buffer tube cracked. Then.
Yeah.
Oh, that's epic.
Yeah. Other than that, like
We've heard many stories of that before.
Well, so the funny thing is I recovered that gearbox, and that gearbox is now running in a different gun, still going strong.
it's
but,
great.
Yeah.
It's a great gun. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I never had a problem with that one. Crytek obviously is there's been a lot of hype over Crytek, and some of it comes to like their marketing and their branding and stuff like that. But they do make a pretty decent gun out of the box. Like,
I'll be honest. I think Crytek is good, but I think they're overpriced. If
Well,
I'm being totally
and they're
honest,
hard to
sincere.
come by, unfortunately, because of them
if I
being.
could work on the pricing issue, I'd bring that up first, and then like availability, you're definitely only ordering that from 2 dealers in
Toronto or Trigger, I believe. Those are the only 2 options.
Trigger needs to go through Toronto anyway, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, they do.
Exactly.
They do?
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
I think Toronto's the main distributor of.
The main
Wow,
distributor.
that's news to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like Crytek's. I don't actually own any, mainly because I know Crytek's internals essentially are kind of unique to their own.
You can build it to your own.
They
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
proprietary, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I
I mean, that's
won't
just me.
lie though, from
I like
like
to
a
tinker.
shimming perspective, like they're dummy. They're not dummy proof, but like
They're idiot
their
resistant.
stock diagram and everything like that. It's super simple. If something breaks, it's literally shim here, shim there, put it back together, and you have a working gun.
Man, that worries me a little bit, though.
It does. It
You
does.
talk about that concept of like dummy-proof shimming. I have never seen it.
Idiot resistant.
Man, VFC tried to do that a long time ago, and I don't know if their guns still have that stupid spring to keep
So,
the sector gear, but that was such a bad
that's the
idea.
thing.
Yeah, I
Crytek
remember
does
those,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, so Crytek does that on their spur gear. It is in the concept of teching really bad, but at the same time, from like their like commercial perspective,
It's
makes
cheap
it,
to produce,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's cheap to produce. It makes it super easy to work on in the sense of like just throwing it out there and stuff like
And
that.
I'm willing to pay a little bit more if it's like shimmed properly. And
So are you like the
professionally.
classic guy who shims
Yes.
it properly and you listen to it when it's spin?
I'll spend 2 to 4 hours shimming something. Like all my guns run smooth as butter, but the other part too is like it speaks a lot in terms of longevity, especially when you have like a 3-train gear system. You turn a piston and then you have a motor which actuates into it. And none of them line up perfectly, but you need to have them so there's enough play that they can shift a little bit, and then 2, so they're aligned enough that when they do shift, that the gears don't offset one another. And I mean, when I was working at Trigger, this is a kind of a cool little factoid, and not a lot of people know this, but at the time, the owner of Trigger brought over someone from Magic Box. Now they produce a lot of like really good like aftermarket internals, and this guy had been an airsoft tech in Taiwan for like 20 years, and this guy was
I
renowned
remember
for
this,
shimming.
yeah.
He taught me how to shim. I spent 2 days learning how to do that, and ever since that, it kind of changed my perspective on how to actually work on airsoft guns, and more importantly, that one of the most crucial parts is being able to shim it correctly.
Make sure everything starts off from the base.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they had back then. Trigger had a lot of Magic Box, like gearbox
yeah.
internals.
I still like their internals. If you can find them, man, like they're
Now
they're
they don't
solid.
sell them anymore,
Oh,
unfortunately.
really?
Yeah.
Are they?
No,
Have they
they're-
kind of gone down, or?
I don't know.
I'm
I
not
don't.
sure.
I think Trigger just stopped selling them.
I think Trigger stopped selling them primarily because of the price.
But I think they're still around,
Yeah.
from what I heard.
No, they are. Magic Box
They
still
are?
kicks
Okay.
around. You can still get their stuff from Taiwan. But in regards to Trigger, it was more for the user affordability, I guess. Especially when you're talking to somebody and they go, I don't understand why I have to pay $25 for a cylinder head. It's like, oh, well, it's CNC'd and it's machined properly.
Yeah.
So there's not any like
Exactly.
burrs or anything like
deficiencies,
that.
Well, it comes
Yeah.
down to the same thing, like the special kits, right? Like the sappy kits from Edgy and stuff like that, or like the Stalker series. Like people are going like, how come I'm paying, $100 for a hop-up unit?
Material and manufacturing specs are very important. And when you're
Exactly.
talking about working with something in a very precise manner, generally speaking, if it's better to pay a little bit more to go there. You can still build cheap builds and still have them work, but you can run into compatibility issues. I can't tell you how many SHS gears I've gone through basically where they're slightly different from one another, or one batch is better than the last one, or one batch sounds differently.
Yeah, like
It's
current
ridiculous.
cylinder
Yeah.
batch right now.
And I'm like, I'm humming and hawing on going to Siege Tech gears because I'm really, really curious about running those. But I mean, it is a little bit of a bone to drop like $200 on a pair of gears. But hey,
I agree on
get what
that.
you pay for.
Yeah, definitely.
We pay to play, people.
Since we're speaking about internals and stuff, what's your take on that one Korean company that came out, where they're using sort of AEG stuff to simulate? You could rack the bolt and everything.
Oh my
DAS?
God.
DAS, yeah.
DAS, right?
DAS, yeah.
I think it's cool.
GBLR or
But
something.
similar-
GBLS, yeah.
GBLS, that's the name.
Very expensive.
It's a sweet gun.
Very nice.
8-pound trigger pull.
Hey, I'll just say I'll say this much: the trigger is gross compared to the real one.
8 pounds.
But it's a cool concept in regards to training. But similar to PTWs, it's very niche.
Yeah.
Personally, I would probably never buy one, just because there's too many factors to go wrong theoretically. And then if it does break, you're gonna pay an arm and a leg easily.
Yeah, no, I getcha. It's basically you're an early adopter at that point. Parts are hard to find.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
if you're
And
going to
you're
be a
gonna take it
pioneer, be prepared to be standing
Yeah.
alone for a
Yeah.
while.
No, I getcha. I get
Well, the
that,
worst
I
part
get
is that, you know, you buy it for dry fire training and you use it, and then you're waiting, you know, months on end for it to get fixed because there aren't any.
I know,
around
just
to
dry
fix it.
fire with your real AR. Oh, wait, stop. No, don't do that.
Don't do that. We don't have those. We don't have some voting.
Hi, gas blowback guy here.
I'll tell you this much, man. If you want the simulation, I would go gas blowback. It's the most
Yep.
cost-effective means to do it.
Yeah.
It
And
is.
at the same time, like, I'm one of those people that's going to tell you that electric blowback systems are stupid.
They're taking your
Agreed.
Well, and also the gas blowback, engineering has kind of changed. Like, what a lot of people don't realize too is that, like, with Wii's new, specifically Wii, I think they're at like a Gen 2 or Gen 3 bolt system now.
Gen 3.
Gen 3.
And,
Yeah.
I remember when
so the
people.
wear and tear is not so
No,
much.
it's not even that. It has to do with the fact that it's not a hollow bolt.
Did they
but-
stop using pot metal for their internals yet?
I don't know, that's a
no,
question
they
that's
still
been
are.
brought up a lot.
They still
That is a
are,
concern that has
but,
been brought up a lot.
Yes.
Their bolt has a steel core in the back instead of it being a hollow.
Oh man, that's super
so-
cool.
so-
but pot metal, bro.
Yeah.
It's like,
So-
hey, I'm using the metal in my
So
country.
as far as I know, the
Yeah.
Gen 3 bolt for the Wii is comparable to GHK for recoil wise.
I always find it kind of amusing that airsofters want to emulate as much recoil as
I
possible.
know, right?
In the military, we're trying to get rid of it.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're trying to reduce it as much as you can.
Because it actually affects your ability to hit a target.
Well, so exactly. That comes into the other thing too. It's like, you know, if people want more
need to
recoil.
perform.
FYI, you don't want recoil, get a really heavy machine gun.
There you go.
Exactly. Even then, there's still lots of recoil. A real one, I mean.
Yeah. I was gonna
You'll
say,
never be able to get one in Canada, so don't bother. But
Yeah.
airsoft ones are pretty cool.
Yeah, you want no recoil LMG? Just get a Polar Star.
Oh yeah, since we're getting into gas blowback, reputable company for it,
Yeah.
we,
GHK. Yeah.
VFC does make some
Don't
gas
get me wrong.
blowbacks.
Yes, they do, but parts. Oh my God.
So
Yes.
this is where I was going to say.
VFC is just like H&K in the real world. You ask them for spare parts or anything like that, and they tell you to go screw yourself.
they laugh at you.
Okay. So
you broke it?
I have
They
to-
don't break.
I have to say that VFC is actually not that bad on a customer service front.
No,
for
they aren't.
replacing
They
parts.
aren't.
They're actually really, really good. They might be a little slow just because, you know, they're in
still a
Taiwan and
small
stuff like
company,
that.
too.
I'm gonna tell you, when I ordered something from VFC, they told me, oh, we shipped it. I'm like, cool. Can you send me like a tracking number? It's like they sent me an Excel sheet with all the other customer numbers, and I'm like, I don't need to see everybody else's names and emails in here.
Excuse me,
need to
while I
see
sort
mine.
through this laundry list you gave me.
But I'm trying to get a Gen 4 Glock 17 fixed right now. One of the housings broke on it. They've been really nice and really easy to work with on it. Obviously, there is a little bit of a language barrier, but other than that, they're very helpful and very responsive on their compared to a lot of other
Oh, yeah.
companies that I've worked with. Where I think like I'm still waiting on like 2 messages from other companies that. I know it's
I love- oh, man.
COVID and stuff, but hello.
I love VFC's externals. I hate their internals.
Yeah.
Well, they have
With
it.
a hot passion.
I find that the
We
VFC
talking about
platforms have a
AG
really,
or gas?
AG.
Both.
Oh, gas? Yeah, that too.
Gas, I hate them.
I
Yeah.
gas too, just
So
because
I
of
didn't like their
proprietary
gas
nature.
introduction because they tried to stray too far away from what everyone else was doing. So the
Well, they innovate.
compatibility part
Yeah.
literally was out
Was
the
out the
window.
window, yeah.
Especially when it came to mags. Like I don't know what they were thinking, but adding more small little parts to your magazines to do a bolt lock.
Excuse
Imitation
me,
is.
where'd that spring go?
Oh, not even.
Where's my base plate?
Not even that, but that and also just like let's make this part really, really tiny so that when I shoot the gun 100 times, it's worn out, so now it won't lock ever.
Oh, we're talking about my slide?
No, I'm talking about their MP5 with their magazine.
Oh,
they
man.
had this little slide
the
thing.
follower,
and
yeah.
and if it got shaved down, I think, by like 2 or 3 mil just from wear. It wouldn't lock anymore, and it would just fall out all the time.
And you wouldn't get that HK slap.
Yeah.
It's like Glock 18s, right?
Oh,
You
yeah.
fire semi-auto for a certain period of time, you switch to the fun switch, and then it's permanent fun switch.
Permanent.
Yep.
It's only the fun switch.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We actually just talked about that.
Yeah, we were just talking about that last week.
Yeah.
We were talking about Glocks.
And why there should never be a pistol in full auto.
Garbage.
Ooh, but I'm suppressing them from what?
You want a full auto pistol? Got news for you. Go buy a submachine gun.
Yeah, exactly.
100%. Like,
Problem solved.
yeah, get yourself an MP5K.
Yeah.
MP5K or
Yeah,
like-
man. But like going back to VFC, I love their externals. I think they build incredible externals. I've had a VFC M27 before, but don't get me started on doing tech work on that thing. It was a bloody nightmare.
Isn't an M27 the same as like a 416?
It is the same. It has a longer barrel. It has the marine markings and the super cool
416,
transient
is it still considered an AR?
handle. Technically speaking, yes.
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 Yeah,
but
416
it's
is an AR.
But yeah, it's a pit. Yeah, exactly.
Do you know why it's called a 416?
Why?
Because H&K couldn't get the licensing to call it an HKM4, so they changed the name.
Gotcha.
Cool, huh?
That's actually
416.
pretty cool. And it-
HK416.
Fun fact: their original HK416 had polymer handguards, the whole 9 yards.
Oh,
It
really?
looked similar to an M4, but they changed it completely.
Well, I was gonna say that would sort of come like that would make sense considering the fact that they have the G36 which has a polymer handguard, as well as some of their other platforms that also have
Well,
polymer
no, it was more to
handguards.
emulate the original AR platform because it was proposed as a suggestion to replace the M4.
So
I mean,
was
it
this
put in
based off of
trials.
that special weapons project that they
Yes.
did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, it
All
was.
right.
Yeah.
There's very few pictures circulating around, but there's one of a dude in a mud with an HKM416.
It looks really
originally,
cool.
but it looks
Yeah.
like an AR-15.
Yeah.
Which is shocking, but it wasn't. And then they switched over to the quad rail system, which they have now, which, by the way, in the real world weighs a metric ton.
Yes.
But
Yes. Fully loaded with
pretty
a
cool.
grenade launcher and PEC 14.
Is that the OICW or?
Hot garbage again.
Yeah.
Tell South Korea to stop producing those things.
Oh my gosh.
What a lovely segue.
Well, so okay, yeah, and so with VFC, you know, they're another company. Let's see here, and you know,
There is a lot of
there-
manufacturers.
well, there's a lot of
that
manufacturers.
Way
make.
too many to list off to the point where
A bunch of them white label though, right?
oh yeah, there's
Yeah.
there's tons
So
of
that's
ways.
where some people
so
get
definitely
confused,
comes down.
right?
Well, I know EMG is
That's like Elite
white label
Force and
GMPs.
VFC.
Yeah, EMG does a lot of the licensing factors and stuff like that. So I guess like when you look at it, some of the
Another hot topic.
OGs are you know GMP, VFC,
It's funny because a lot of the original manufacturers actually are still around. Like Classic Army is another one that's
Yeah.
been around
Yeah.
for eons.
they've been a little quiet recently and stuff
Yeah,
like
they
that.
changed
But
their model and they stopped producing a lot of their more unique guns, which was a huge. Going back to when I first started airsoft, I had a Classic Army catalog in my Classic Army M15A4 box, and dude, it had G3s and everything in it, and I thought it was so cool. They had MP5s, you name it.
Yeah, but you
Now-
can't get them now.
Yeah, I know. Nowadays, you can't find half that stuff. Or if a company starts producing something new, it's like, here's another M4, but
Well,
we're
you
going to
can
slap
actually,
on a bunch of different rails on it, and airsofters go like,
Hey, but wait,
But wait, there's more.
From what I understand, though, you can actually order from them directly. Unfortunately,
I'd
though,
veer away from that if I were you.
well, so I know that you can get accessories and whatnot, but I don't think you can actually get a full gun from them because they don't have the whole process of the Canada compliancy sticker.
Well,
process.
that's another topic too. If you want to go on to, especially when you're talking about ordering guns in nature, especially for all you out there who play airsoft, buy from a retailer or somebody that actually has Canada compliant.
Yeah, don't
They can import it.
Yeah, exactly. They have some
That'll
sort of
save you a
process.
huge amount of hassle, and it
Yeah.
saves the CBSA a huge pain in the butt of confiscating your stuff and then destroying it. So if you
Yeah.
blow a lot of dough on something and buy it outside of the country, make sure it actually is Canada compliant beforehand. I've read a lot of things on forums in regards to that, and then nowadays with the recent gun ban actually going on in Canada for real firearms, it's particularly difficult when you want to get certain accessories or things for airsoft guns. It's not impossible, but it's important to note that that can make it a lot a lot harder at this point.
Yeah, and the time draw process, it really draws it out. Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly.
So buy in Canada if you can, and support your local Canadian company. I strongly recommend that.
100%. Yeah.
Support your local gun store.
Yeah,
I mean, airsoft store.
I'm not saying you shouldn't donate to the CCFR. I think if I remember correctly.
Yes.
So you probably
CCFR.
should if you think that stuff is important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you like airsoft, you like the CCFR.
Yeah,
Okay,
man.
big brother.
Hey man, we don't need to go the way of the dodo with airsoft guns in Canada like they did with gel blasters in Australia.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
no,
We mentioned that
We
last
did
time.
touch on that, but that's really sad for anyone that's paid attention to that and everything like that. They had them, and now they don't get
Yeah,
that.
the no fun police came in.
they do have them, but they're going through their own conflict right now, and unfortunately, it's
Well, they're making them register, and
well, it's very
'cause
sad
it's a firearm.
and telling what's going to happen for us because they seem to have gone about it as innocently as possible and then turned around against the community. So
Well, the difficult part for us, especially in Canada, is airsoft guns, technically speaking, are unregistered firearms or uncontrolled. Pardon me.
Yeah,
So
uncontrolled
They fall under the
firearms,
category
yes.
similar to air guns in many different ways. So you don't need a license or anything in that regard.
Yeah.
But that also means that you should probably be a little bit more mature about how you store it or how you keep it or where you play with it. Going back to what you guys were originally talking about,
Touching on the unsanctioned
yeah,
games.
unsanctioned fields. Don't do
It's just
that.
It's not a good idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a terrible idea.
Yeah.
And I mean, airsoft is the closest thing we're going to get to owning a lot of these real firearms, which we never
Hey,
will.
that's how Japan started airsoft, or
Yeah,
that's why
exactly.
they started
Yeah,
airsoft because they
exactly.
couldn't get access to like cool guns like these guys, right?
Precisely. But it's
Yeah.
but at this point now, it's become one of those things where it's actually a sport in its own to its own degree, and there's a lot of innovation in it. There's a lot of love in what goes into airsoft, and like shout out to some of the companies out there that are constantly innovating, like Airsoft Innovations, which is a Canadian company, by the way.
Yeah.
You want to keep those guys around. I mean, they're always coming up with new concepts, and it kind of makes it a little bit more fun for us when we're flicking
like-
plastic at each other.
Tag in. I wish we could have more of your products up here. I'm sorry.
I would
I know.
I know. man.
everyone
So-
here at this table is a lover of tagging.
I'm just,
we would more than
I
anything
just want the
love it.
tanger
Yeah.
bangers, man. You
Dude,
know?
I can pump shock rounds all day, but it ain't a banger.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man.
Actually, that's a good one for you, Dave. Is airsoft a sport or a hobby?
Ooh, this is a great question. I love this one.
I think you gave us a really long-winded answer when
Yeah.
we did ask that originally.
But I'm gonna give one that's a little bit more concise. Airsoft initially is a hobby, but it is also a sport. It is a sport in the sense that when you go to games such as Milsims or if you play Speedsoft, there's a certain degree of competitiveness that can actually be applied to it. Now, mind you, it is a little bit difficult because it is an honor-based system in most cases. But at the same time, you can chalk it up to a competitive level. There are guys that actually build teams, which I think is fantastic, and they go out and they compete against other groups, or they play in larger crews. But I mean, in terms of like a hobby, not really in that sense, because nowadays we're starting to see what happened with paintball is the airsoft is becoming more competitive. Now there's a love-hate relationship with that, obviously. Like you get classic Milsim guys, like I'm sure most of you guys here are on that same page in that sense, who don't like that kind of stuff. I actually kind of do. I'm not going to go play Speedsoft and run a Supreme sweater by any means.
Exactly.
But at the same time, I see the application and a lot of the concepts that they're pushing out there is really good. Now I like to push that too because it gives you an edge when you're playing against other players, and that's actually what drives me and makes it fun. So it's in between both. Yeah, for sure.
Thank you. That was a beautiful answer.
See, a bit of both. A bit of both.
Exactly. Who knows? With all the new people coming in, because of the competitiveness, that might actually help fund the rightful G11.
No.
You want a G11?
100%, man. Just for the memes.
I mean, I would love to have it just to build a Space Force outfit and probably get a NASA suit and then just proclaim
well, I'm
myself
just saying that if I
conquering
got
Dennis
it, it would be
Rodman.
the best
That's all I need.
weekend gun. Because the only way you could design that is to make it like a drop-in high cap. So you literally open the top and fill it.
Just
and
take
then
a P90. You're good. P90 is already a future gun.
Why would you revert back to a hopper system?
That's so inconsistent, too.
all this research and development only go backwards in time.
You could just have a magazine that goes on the top like the real G11 that just feeds downwards.
Yeah, like
there's
a
no
P90
issue.
like
there.
a P90.
Actually, on Reddit, I've seen a guy who's going through the whole process of 3D printing a working version, and I think he built it from a P90
I know what
body.
you're talking about. Yeah.
So,
man, that thing is so cool. Is that dude in Hong Kong?
actually, I think he's in the States.
No, there's a guy in Hong Kong that built a G11 that actually works.
I think it's the States. It's the States.
No, it's the States?
Yeah.
Still beautiful.
It's still beautiful. Exactly.
I would 10 out of 10 buy that gun.
I just cosplayed Dennis Rodman
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
Demolition Man. That's all I would do.
Man, if a company can go back and start producing retro guns,
I would love you.
Oh, I see. No,
yes,
love you.
Yes.
like, seriously,
I want the Star Wars
GMP,
blaster.
if you're listening to this, or anyone who works at GMP, start producing your A1s and A2s again, for the love of God.
Yeah.
We
Enough with
need
rails.
we need some Vietnam flashbacks here.
Hell yeah. Somebody give me an XM117. I am so happy.
You can get one from Wii.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and G&G, if
For
you're
one
listening,
legitimate
you know,
wall hanger,
I just
I'll
hope
buy
their
a
World
Wii
War
right
II
now.
guns. I just hope their World War II guns work for G&G.
Oh,
you know, I
G&G?
love what they're trying to do
No,
right
it's
now,
great.
where they're
I would-
pushing it.
yeah.
But
Drop the price.
you drop the price, and also,
Drop
can you
the
please let
price.
them work?
Yeah.
You know, I know they're trying their fancy Bluetooth connectivity
Look,
ETUs that they're trying to do
Oh,
right
man.
now, but oh man, just can you?
Didn't you
make
have
it
one of
cute?
those? Like, connected to your phone?
Actually, all my whoa, yeah. Actually, this is a great topic to go into. So, fun fact: all of my AEGs have BTC Bluetooth Spectre MOSFETs, so I can program them with my phone. And another fun fact: it's a good idea to go down that route to a certain degree with FETs if you can use an app on your phone. I think it's fantastic, especially from a teching perspective. If you're like me and you read milliamps, which tells you how efficient your system is working, it helps a lot. BTC, I believe the other one is, who produces Leviathan again?
Leviathan's a Jeftron.
Jeftron. Yeah,
MOSFET.
Jeftron's the other one that's really bloody good. Gate's pretty good too. I'm not a huge fan of optical MOSFETs.
Plugging in, yeah.
Yeah, and then plug-in plays are pretty good too. I just hate the trigger programming.
That one
that's
is.
so
I'm not
old
gonna
school.
lie, it gets annoying sometimes.
Oh, dude,
So these are all for version 2 and version 3 gearboxes that you're talking about.
but they're starting to adapt it now into airsoft guns, and I see the appeal to it, and I think it's fantastic. I think it's a good thing that companies are actually going with FETs and starting to install it, because it's a good thing at the end of the day in terms of you saving your battery and like trigger, and it gives you a little bit more options. But G&G, on the other hand, I have dealt with some of theirs. They're not necessarily great. I like G&Gs for their innovation and stuff like that, and they do build good externals and very good base guns if you're talking about like combat machines. Their top tech line is okay. Don't ever buy their blowbacks.
I've
EVs,
disabled
yeah.
a bunch of them before.
But other than that, like their internals, they could use a little bit more love, especially with efficiency. Yeah, that's a big one.
I'm a big fan of their gears, though. Their
gears actually hold up really well.
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
I've seen damaged gears, and it took a lot to damage them, like to get to that point.
Well,
you know?
G&G's top tech gears are actually extremely durable for what they are. I just
Yeah.
wish their gearbox casings weren't that stupid powdered zinc press. I wish it
They
was
crack. I feel like
Oh,
they
they
crack.
break
a
like
lot.
crazy.
Well, they
left, right,
crack
and
and
center.
They're not like
I'm also not a
hardened,
big
like
fan
hardened
of
steel,
that.
no?
They're not
No,
hardened.
yeah.
It's the same thing with Aries. They use really cheap gearbox shells in terms of metals. So, I mean, one notorious thing, especially back in the day with the old blowback system that G&G had in their top techs, everyone thought it was super cool, and then you would disable it, and you'd like crank the FPS up a little bit more to make your DMR. The front of the gearbox shells in their V2s would just
Crack,
like, snap
yeah.
right
No
off.
radiusing, so crack.
Oh, you couldn't even radius
Yeah.
it to save it for the life of you, man.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh man. And my big hate for it is the powder coating on it.
Yeah.
Makes it really annoying to install bushings and stuff
Yeah,
because
'cause
the
it all
surfaces
just-
are really uneven
Yeah,
all the
and
time.
it's rough as hell, and it should be, technically speaking, on the inside of the gearbox, it should be as smooth as possible for the parts moving.
Which is why, as
Yeah.
much as I hate to admit it, APS made some nice gearboxes because they were really, really smooth. But
Talk about garbage specs, though.
yeah,
Back from the land of nerds over here.
Me and Poy are hanging out. We're doing
Yeah,
fine.
no, we're cool.
We're just
No,
having-
We're here for the looks.
We knew we already talked about this beforehand. We knew that this was going to happen.
This was going to be more of a tech
We were
review,
like,
tech,
oh,
a
shit,
tech talk.
Like, Poy, you want to go get a coffee while we let them?
Man, you guys want to do a real tech podcast? I'd be more than happy to go in depth about that kind of stuff. Because
I'm sure we would,
It
yeah.
would
Tack
definitely
and
be
hang out.
interesting
Yeah.
to get like, I know this is kind of off topic here, kind of thing, but it would be interesting for me to get yourself, possibly Bishop, as well as I would hope maybe I can get Dijon involved as well, and just have you guys all kind of give your exactly have all you guys sort of maybe in a round table discussion, just talking about your guys' experience and stuff
absolutely.
like that. Just because.
If you guys are interested, comment down below if you guys are interested in more in-depth tech talk.
Because in my opinion,
those sit through that.
Because I think for me and Mac here, we're in the competitive side of things as well as the Milson side, right?
I love how they say competitive, and then all this shit breaks, and you have to fix it for them.
Hey,
and it's our problem.
And then that's your guys' problem.
Hey, make my gun shoot.
But you guys are the true hobbyists. You guys tinker with that stuff. You guys open it up.
Boy, you're being modest. We can tinker. We just don't have the patience for it all.
That's also kind of the important part too, is being able to actually tinker with your stuff. Because if you are going to legitimately be competitive on a larger scale, so to speak, you need to be able to actually work with your stuff. I mean, I don't have anything against guys that actually do teching for a job, and then the companies out there that do build fantastic gun builds. But I am going to say there are companies that do charge way too much money for tech work, and it's frustrating because sometimes their techs are poop, and then you'll pay like X amount for something, and it poops out on you.
It's hard to gauge.
And it's
because teching isn't free, but then again, how do you gauge that, right? Exactly.
No, and I've always believed in like fair prices, so I do tech from time to time to help people out on the side, but it is not a focus of mine because I'm more interested in playing at this point and producing content for people and putting it up on a website that they can reference. Yeah. I don't like retro future stuff.
Everybody does.
I like that. Exactly. I like that.
Oh man. I think we've discussed the crap out of this. ARs.
They're great.
Well, we can definitely. I think in a future topic we could go down like very specific. Like we could find.
We're scratching the surface.
Yeah, we could go down one platform from one company and just go down all the.
That's dangerous.
It is dangerous considering the fact that there's many generations out there, many versions of the same platform from different companies as well as from the same company.
It's another M4.
But wait,
there's more.
Hey, we can say the same for AKs now.
It is true.
It
is true. Every year we're getting new AKs, and it's pretty much the same thing, or the Zenko version of it, or
I'm sitting here like a really happy boy.
Yeah,
I'm really happy for them.
I'm so excited for when AKs turn into M4s, and everyone goes, "It's still an AK." And it's like, no, dude, it's now an M4.
Well, you haven't seen the Crytek AK-47?
Oh, I have.
I have. It's an M4.
Yeah. I'm just waiting for the actual evolution of a person to make an AR-15 actually into an accept an AK-545 or 5.56 magazine.
No,
that's what we want. And I know.
What are you talking about? They already have that 5.56 one.
Well, I already done the
AK and it did not get received.
No, AK-104, 105.
Yes, the 104, 105. But the 104, 105 can't be separated like an M4. So that's what I'm talking about.
Oh my God, that's gross.
You're never gonna have a Kalashnikov with a split piece design. Give me a break. It's got a steel trunnion in the front.
Hey, my man Brandon Herrera brought the AK-50. Things are possible.
You know what? He does have us there. It is possible. But the question is, do you want to see something that ugly and that much of an abomination?
Hey, anything real was imagined first.
I agree with you.
The memes.
Straight up, I like hot garbage, man. I like ugly-looking guns from time to time. And the only reason why is because they're so bloody ugly. You're like, man, that's beautiful. Purpose-built stuff.
Stock AK, man.
Shovel stock AK.
No, man, just buy yourself an Ames. The Ames AK, like the Romanian style with the wire style.
Oh, yeah.
World's worst cheek weld. But hey, you chop that barrel down and put a drum on it, it is a great PDW to jump out of a car with.
Man, we're getting into AKs now.
Okay, yeah, we're slowly bleeding into it.
See, you go from the high-speed, super ergonomic, awesome weapon systems to low-speed, cheap, hot trash.
AK work everywhere.
Hey, ARs work everywhere too.
Yeah, that's fun fact. If you actually take care of your rifle,
is that
works.
true?
Yeah.
I thought they did that whole test where like you could throw AK or AK.
What is that, Lee or what is it? What's his name?
You're talking about the guy from
the drill sergeant. Yeah. They did a test on
there's multiple
AK
tests
versus.
Out there. There's tons of tests out there. I've seen so many different tests. I've seen him from the Kalashnikov group. I've seen him from independent guys. So
do you guys know why ARs still use direct gas impingement?
Isn't
More
that
reliable
more
and
from the
get more gas
reliability?
efficiency?
No. It's actually because the gas system doesn't just cycle the bolt, but it also blasts out of the chamber too, pushing debris out, which is really innovative. Eugene Stoner was ahead of his time in terms of thinking. I mean, yeah, the AR has its like shortcomings in the real world in regards to like getting crap into it. But seriously, if you're breaking your rifle down in the field, you're kind of an idiot already to that degree.
Well, it's the ease of breaking that down
so
that really makes a difference between that the
if it gets
M16,
gunky,
like
you
the
can
AR platform, and the AK platform. The AK platform wasn't built to be like field worked on.
the AK's
right?
got a lot of loose hanging.
It's easy to field strip an AK.
But
it's rugged.
But it's not meant to be like to how do I say this? So like
Broken down and maintained as quickly?
Well, the things that I've like read and watched and learned and everything like that is an AK is it is battlefield salvage, right? So that is how you fix an AK on the battlefield, whereas an M4.
I don't know. That's kind of controversial because you can say the same thing about an M16.
It's a
For
lot
an
easier to
M4, you
fix
just
and
kind of
replace
just
parts
split it
on
up
an
into two
M16,
pieces like that,
But
right?
then you know the nice thing about them is, especially
Right, but then your bolt assembly comes out in one piece. Your upper and your lower are two separate
coming
pieces.
from a real
like-
perspective on this one and having to actually clean these things, and when you have to do it in the field, AR-15s are actually pretty easy to handle in that sense.
This is what I've heard compared to an AK.
Well, I mean, yes and no. I mean, the AK, arguably speaking, it's a conscript rifle, is what it's originally designed for, so it's meant for simple to use. And for ease of maintenance, like all you really had to do was pull off the dust cover, pull out the return spring along with the bolt, and then just clean it very easily, and all your working systems there. AR-15s are very much in the same pattern, in the same sense. But I don't know. I mean, I still find them incredibly easy to work on and very easy to put back together very quickly.
Well, one thing's for sure.
Maybe that's because I've been issued them and I'm a little
AKs
biased.
can shoot a lot more rounds through them in a short amount of time versus an M4.
Fun fact, if it's a Colt Canada C7, you can shoot more because they're cold forge hammer barrels.
This is true. This is true. This is true.
We're talking real steel now.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Definitely.
Yeah, not the G&G C7. Good luck.
Yeah. I don't want us to keep dragging this on because I know that we keep going back and forth.
As far as like everyone's uses here, hack M4 or like AR, or do you go with another platform?
So, because I've tried out so many of the different airsoft platforms, you know, it's like if I had to like come down to it, yeah, I would choose an M4 just because it's easy to use. It has a lot less parts that can go wrong per se, you know, compared to some of the other platforms out there. It's also, in the airsoft sense, the most widely used platform out there, as well as the
Most ergonomic.
yeah, exactly. So, you know,
Gotcha. So you're into AR.
Yeah, I'm into the ARs. Yeah.
Mac.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, my pickup and play weapon my pickup and play toy right now, when I get a chance to play, is my TAC built it. It's my Mark 18. So, you know, it's an M4. I love it. My other platforms that I have that I am getting ready right now is just like you were talking about, SchoolBoy, is my GMP C8.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Yeah, so I'm building that right now to be my my next Milsim gun, because I am trying to work on my my calf impression for that. So that's that. And then I think we have like 5 other guns, and they're all M4s, aren't they?
Yes.
Except for my World War II gun.
I love how we all call them M4s, but they're actually AR-15s.
AR-15s, yeah.
Slightly different.
I know,
But we all
exactly.
refer to them as
It's
M4s.
here. Let me go get my 416. Like,
Yeah, well, exactly. Most of them are like the AR platforms. Like, what was it? The only other oddity that I have is my G36.
Actually, that's my AR-15 like platform right there. So I like that look right there.
Oh man, look at that. He's got the beautiful C79 L-can on it
yeah.
Beautiful.
too. Too bad it doesn't have the legit radioactive tritium inside it.
More like thank God.
No, that stuff's awesome.
Here,
dude.
give it to me.
You're talking about a guy that runs sites with tritium.
David, what's your take on this? You're of course
He's
an
pretty
AR
locked
guy.
in
Yeah,
there.
it's pretty
You're
obvious.
locked in here.
He's locked in
You're
for
locked in for the
AR.
25-year
AR
AR.
for 500.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna. I can brag on AKs all day. I actually do like them for what they are.
Yep.
But for simplicity's sake, I like AKs, bare bones.
Have you ever owned one?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
I've owned 3. I built a custom LCT one with a folder stock and a shortened barrel, like the Pakistani police style.
Nice.
I deeply regret selling it because
So
it was
you ran
super
an
unique.
OP4 kit. Wow.
Yes,
Okay.
I actually do like Kalashnikovs quite a bit too. The only thing I don't like about AKs is when guys start putting brails and all the accessories on it. AKs weigh about as much as a machine gun, and I think it's stupid for a
Oh
rifle.
yeah, they get really heavy when you start adding those
too heavy.
attachments.
He is not wrong. I just worked on a Zeneco modified
74,
AK,
right?
and that thing is front end heavy.
It's a 74,
I agree with you.
Yeah, they're
I
super
like
cool.
I like the classic AK look.
I like the
74,
rugged look, you know, and
AKM.
the idea
Yeah.
that you-
AKM's sweet. I love that one.
Yeah, referencing him, like picking up off the ground on like in a battlefield. I think that's kind of cool, and like customize like modded AKs with a little bit of like flair to them and optics. Like I really like what the Salat Mikkel back in Israel did with their Kalashnikovs, and I mean they're still lightweight. I mean. For an AK.
I was gonna say, like, really though?
Yeah, that's a bit of a hard.
Like,
a hard
who's
push
carrying
right
it, right? Like,
But yeah, man, like I'm still always gonna like draw back to AR-15s or AR platforms just in general. I think they're superior in a lot of different ways, but if you're talking like usability, like ergonomics, they hands down like they win.
yeah, and they're that proliferant
Yeah.
for a reason, right? Like, there are so many AR-15 variants that have come
yeah.
out now, real steel, airsoft, whatever, and like between that and an AK, those are the top 2 rifles that have been created
It's hard to
in the
compete
world,
with them
right?
too.
Exactly, yeah.
It's partly the numbers, but it's also just the manufacturing of them and how they're produced.
Ease of
to
access
what to do,
and
right?
stuff, yeah.
I mean, the
Yeah.
other one that I would love to see, which we don't see in airsoft, is an AR-18, which is like an AR-15 slightly updated. It got brushed under the rug in the real world, but it was a really cool gun that Eugene Stoner like pumped up with, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, I mean, I guess that pretty much ends M4s.
Yeah, I think we'll end it
Well,
with
I
that,
mean, you
fun
know
fact.
where my position is for.
Oh yeah, we know.
For-
We know, Mr. Primary
What's
doesn't
a
transition
secondary?
to secondary.
What's a sling?
Yeah.
I mean,
Who
yeah.
transitions to secondaries? What is this hot trash? The only secondary I transition to
I mean,
is a
for
203.
me, it's basically the standard M4, like AR-15 for me or M4, and
That's a gas gun?
I'm a gas gun. Yeah,
Wait, is it a WE?
yeah, it's a WE.
Okay, it's another WE.
Yeah, it's another WE.
Oh, hey, look, it's one that actually works.
Damn, here I thought that was an AEG. Damn, son.
Actually, to not knock on the AK, I prefer if I'm using AAGs, I prefer using the AK AAGs.
Yeah, they're actually pretty damn good for the what
So
they
my
are.
my 2 LCTs, like I love them to death, and I haven't opened the gearbox at all, and they've been shooting great out of the box.
FYI, LCT, if you buy one of their AKs, even their M4s in AR-15 platforms, they do make them. They are good. Plain and simple, and their price is actually great.
So price and quality wise.
LCT is one of those very few companies that is actually doing it right in that regard. They don't really like push the bounds too much, but they keep things simple, and it's just rugged. Yeah.
All right.
All right, I think we've pretty much covered AR. We dabbled into a lot of tech work from you guys.
Yeah.
Appreciate all your input, David. And and where can we find you?
You can find me on my Instagram account, which is SchoolBoy Airsoft, or my website, schoolboyairsoft.com, and my Facebook,
SchoolBoy Airsoft.
Funnily enough, it's very simple. Just SchoolBoy Airsoft.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks to the guys that named you, like gave you that name a long time ago,
man,
and
I'm
you've
never
just
gonna
stuck
be
with
able to
it.
get rid of it for the life of me.
It's stuck, right?
You're done.
It's like glue.
It was 10 years ago that you needed to change. It's too late.
Yeah, now you're not in school. You're not in school anymore.
No,
so.
man, I'm a mature adult, and I'm not in school anymore, but I still get called schoolboy. God damn it.
I was just gonna say, like, what would we say? College
Yeah, do you want
boy?
me to call
College
it
boy or
Hey, look,
or employed boy. Employed boy.
I tried changing it to Gucci at one point
Gucci boy?
Gucci boy.
because I ran multicam, but it never worked. People kept calling me schoolboy, and I mean it's weird. And when you go like outside of the airsoft world, and someone comes and goes, "Oh, hey, schoolboy," and you're like, and the little pucker factor goes up a little bit more.
Who are you?
You know my real name.
You know my real name. Oh my gosh.
I do know my real name.
Basically, for anyone that has made it to the end of the podcast, thank you. And again, real big thank you to David Carenza here for coming out. And
More than happy to come out on this cold night.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Thank
If you guys have any specific questions, you guys are more than welcome to drop them in the comments.
Yep. I'm sure you'll come in our YouTube channel and ask some of those, or like answer some of those questions. Yeah.
Fun fact. I don't have a YouTube account.
Oh, well then have fun.
I know, I love watching YouTube, but I don't actually have an account.
Oh, he's one of those unsubscribed viewers. There's 30% of you guys out there. So that's about 30 viewers that are not subscribed. If you're not subscribed, subscribe now.
I'm maintaining like 3 different social media systems.
Oh, God, throw another platform on
Yeah.
there? I know.
I don't blame you. And then all the tracking mechanics that come with it.
I don't know, man. I had people suggesting I should do YouTube videos, and I'm still like on the fence.
No,
on
you're
that.
still the blog guy?
Yeah.
I mean, blogs are not dead yet.
You
I
can
like
do
blogs.
YouTube. I could see it.
Yeah, but it's the production time that it actually requires to take it, and I would
I
actually
mean, you've
probably have
got
to
some
hire
worthy
someone.
content for people to really check out and stuff like that. You've got a lot of
Love writing,
insight
man.
and knowledge, you know, like, yeah, like it's hard, especially for the newer
I think people
generation.
process it differently. Words just kind of
Well, it's
process
just
that
for the newer
everybody says.
generation, you know,
Yeah.
they're the type to click on a video and sit through and
It's very
listen to
true.
a video or watch a video.
Oh,
you know,
FYI,
right?
my website is also like image intense. I like
Very.
It's very
Pictures.
old school, and I'm not gonna lie.
Pictures,
I
A lot of teching
appreciate
does
that.
require just image intense.
Pictures
Yeah.
are awesome.
Yeah.
Man. Like you can
Enhance.
Enhance. You see this part? Enhance.
I should do more of that.
I love it. Get that Demaco D in there.
Yeah.
It's like CSI. It's super advanced technology enhanced using Photoshop.
Little do you know, it does not work like that
All right.
I know.
whatsoever.
All right, let's close this off, guys. Thank you again for watching. Thank you again, David, for coming by.
Yeah, we're happy to have you here.
Yeah, and then drop any comments down below if you guys want any suggestions or anything that we should do for our next podcast. Also, leave a comment on anything that we missed out or you guys think that we missed out. I don't know.
Basically, that's about it, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming out.
Yeah,
that
thanks
was
for listening.
episode 20. We've been here. We're freezing our butts off. You guys are going to watch this in the warmth of your car or in your house.
Who
and
watches it in the warmth of their car?
Actually,
Quite a
we
lot of people.
actually have quite a few people
this
listening.
is a podcast.
Oh,
Yes.
they listen in the car.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
said watch.
You know what? Thank you for catching that. And
Listen. Listen in their
Listen,
car.
Linda.
I'm that cold, guys.
Okay.
I'm
All
not-
right. Well, guys, I'm Jack.
I'm Mac.
I'm Poi, and we got...
And I'm Schoolboy.
All right, and that is it. We'll see you guys on the next episode. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.